On October 18th, 2021, Christopher Ayres passed away. While many of you know Christopher for his iconic performance of Frieza, he was also the voice in many other shows, and a talented writer and director as well. While Trinity Blood is not the last show that we will talk about with Chris's performing, writing, and directing in, it was the last episode that we recorded prior to his passing. We want to extend our condolences from the Dub Talk podcast to the Ayres family, the Ayres friends, Christopher's friends, and especially Christopher's partner, Crystal Laporte. We thank you, Christopher, for the beautiful life that you have, and we hope that we can live up to your expectations as a person in the world. We vow at the Dub Talk podcast to fill it with love and laughter always. Thank you, Christopher, for your wonderful work over the last years, and we ask that you rest in peace and rest easy. Thank you from the Dub Talk podcast. Good evening, ghosts and goblins. Tonight is All Hallows Weeb here at Dub Talk, and we figured it would be a great night to talk about the thing that goes bump in the night. Vampires. I, Megan, mistress of the Weebs, have called together my two friends and one boyfriend to talk about the most superior type of Halloween thing. No, not zombies. No, not tiny little girls that murder each other in the woods. But the one true kings of Halloween, vampires. Tonight I have my favorite concubine, Roots of Justice, aka Patrick.
I don't drink wine.
Thank you, Mom. Great
What?
character as. My mom just came in. Timing. Cut that out, please. You are not my mom. We don't have that type of kink.
Jesus Christ.
Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know.
Let it
Anyway.
go.
Please also put that as a full breath into the episode editor. And I have my second best concubine, Stephanie.
I was informed that I would get some nice cookies, maybe a t-shirt out of this. Am I still getting those, or was I lied to?
No, you're still getting them. They're in the mail.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, enough of that shit. Hi, guys. Welcome to Halloween.
Hooray! It's spooky time. I love spooks.
I love that. Am I getting shit in the mail? Yeah, you're good. I got it.
See,
Tonight,
my
we're here-
my other option was either to start howling and say, "Oh wait, no, I'm in the wrong one."
That's next year. Or technically, because of a certain love confession in a show 2 weeks from now. Anyway, tonight we are here to talk about an anime that I love, that is a very big part of my teen years, and that nobody... okay, let's just be real. We're here to talk about Trinity Blood, the 2005 anime from Studio Gonzo,
Yay!
that Funimation dubbed, and let's be real, they don't make shit like this anymore.
No, they don't.
I
If you
miss
ever
this
want-
Visual K bullshit.
Oh,
Have you ever
man.
wanted to see Visual K have a three-way with sci-fi and a vampire? Congratulations, welcome to Trinity Blood.
Isn't that just like
summary-
Visual K to begin with, though?
Yes. But now it's in space.
Okay, there we go. There's...
and vampires
And there's vampires who eat other vampires.
and like sci-fi lost technology horseshit.
There's literally a railgun angel at one point.
Yeah.
Objective. Okay, so the plot summary from Anime News Network is as follows. The background is the distant future after the destruction brought about by Armageddon. The war between the vampire and the humans continue to persist. In order to protect humans from vampires, the Vatican has to rely on other allies to counter the situation. Abel Nitro travels from countries as the representative of the Vatican. However, he is a part of the AX. a special operations unit controlled by Cardinal Katarina. His encounters with a young girl named Esther will determine the struggle of the survivor between the human race and the vampires. Now that's the pushy shit explanation of what actually Trinity War is all about.
That is as bare bones as you could possibly get.
The story that is in more detail from the Wikipedia plot summary is as follows.
Oh boy! Here we go, boys and girls. Sit down. Strap yourselves in, kids.
When the Earth's population drastically increased, the humanity led by the United Nations attempts to colonize Mars. Eat your heart out, Elon Musk.
Yeah.
During the colonization, they discovered 2 alien technology, the Basilicus vaccine and the Krusnik nanomachines. The colonists that injected the Basilicus into their body, which transformed them into the vampiric race known as the Methuselah. They installed the Krusniks into the body of 4 test tube babies, Seth, Cain, Abel, and Lilith, whose enhanced bodies were the only ones able to survive the procedure. Continuing the wars on Earth eventually led to Armageddon, the apocalyptic events that happened 900 years before the start of the story, and the colonists returned to Earth to help rebuilding. However, when the colonists returned to Earth, a war broke out between the Methuselah and the humans who had remained on Earth. Not spoiling that part. During this war, Cain went insane and killed Lilith in grief. In grief, Abel took her body to the Vatican where she was buried and remained at her side weeping for 900 years. At the start of the story, the Methuselah, still a major political and military force, continued to wage the war on the Terrans, as they call the human inhabitants of Earth. The church is a major military tower deemed to protect the humans from Methuselah, which has seen itself as base of powers in the Vatican. The Methuselah have their capital in Byzantium, which, hint hint, wink wink, if you know the actual history of Catholicism, is actually kind of a nice, like, wink wink, nudge nudge. So basically, there's a civil war between the vampires and the humans with great space technology, airships, lasers, and vampire powers. It also looks like the early 2000s, and walks like it, and talks like it. Basically, they don't make shit like this anymore, and they really don't let Gonzo make shit like this anymore.
Can I also just say, because you were reading the more plot stuff in detail, the whole fucking thing about the Mars project and all that shit, you don't really find that out until the last fucking episode, actually.
Oh yeah, you literally don't find it out until like a 5-minute flashback in the last
right.
episode.
Yeah.
It's like, it comes way out of left field. It's like, what the actual living hell is this?
And at that point, you're like, you know what? Sure, fine, whatever.
Yeah, at that point, you're just like, all right, just let's go. I believe anything at this point.
There's chicken and beef on this.
The fucking plot consistency is awful, by the way.
No, it's not. The show makes perfect sense.
How did fucking Dietrich get that data cube after fucking Radu just blew up?
He already had it.
No, he did not. He took over Radu's body, remember? And then he...
Bold of you to assume that he wasn't, like, literally sneaking around in the background. Anyway, we'll get to that later.
Fucking Abel would have sniffed his ass out, let's be real. This show gets frustrating for me.
Fair enough. Alright, so we're here to talk about this dub, all 24 episodes, which are on Funimation streaming, and were dubbed by them back in the early 2000s.
Oh boy.
Which, oh boy. Let's just say this. I think this was actually one of the first dubs they handled after the mass success of Full Metal Alchemist.
Correct.
So, get ready for some jank.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so our director is longtime Funimation director, Mike McFarlane. And this show has a lot of writers, including Mike McFarlane, Sean Whitley, Sean Michael Teague, Spencer Prokip, and John Bergmeyer, who, based on ANN, says he head wrote the whole thing, which I believe he did, but it also says he handled some episodes, and by the point I was putting this cast list together, I didn't want to have to go through a bunch of episodes to determine who did what. So, Mike McFarlane, is the director of series such as Full Metal Alchemist, Baki the Grappler, and the Galaxy Railways. He also wrote shows such as Beck Mongolian Chop Squad, some of Kodacha, and Mushishi. Sean Whitley, you'll know as the writer of Cat Planet Cuties, Sekirai, and Aquarion. Sean Michael Teague has worked on series such as Beat the Vandal Buster, Case Closed, not Code Geass. Case Closed and Salty Ray.
Code Geass is a completely different show.
Yeah, and Funimation didn't start handling that episode of that until later on in life. Spencer Prokip, you'll know as the writer of Darker Than Black, Triple Oxalic, and Kenichi, the Mightiest Disciple. And John Bergmeyer has basically had written a bunch of stuff, and yeah. I'm very tired. Okay, like, full disclosure, I literally just woke up before recording this.
It's cool.
You're good.
Alright, so, while I still wake up, Steph, you can start us off.
Oh boy. I was actually kind of hoping to go first, so thank you for that. So we didn't bring this part up. This is a Dub Talk Classics episode, so I'm gonna quickly... So, my experience with the show. Back in the day, this used to be on Adult Swim in the middle of the fucking night.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. And I would see episodes here and there while it was airing. I think this was around the same time as fucking...
Blood Plus was the other big one I think that was on.
Blood Plus was another big one. Paranoid Agent, I think, was either before, during, or after that point. Probably reruns of FMA as well, because it was fucking popular as shit. But I never saw the whole thing before until like 5-6 years ago. When I bought it, and I think I did, when I used to do reviews on my old blog, I think I reviewed this back in the day, and I remember how frustrated I got with this show by the end of it. But, anyways, so coming back to it, after like 5-6 years, oh boy. In terms of the directing and writing, I didn't really have many major issues. Because this seems like a pretty straightforward narrative for the most part. Thanks, Gonzo. Pretty straightforward narrative, and so the directing and the writing did accommodate it as such. Unfortunately, and when we get to this character much later on, I'm gonna say this, to no fault of their own, there were points in that person's performance that were, but again, to no fault of their own. And you know exactly who I'm fucking talking about.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I disagree with you.
Well, I'd say the only part that gave me an issue was the loud screechy noise, like loud screaming and stuff. But again, to no fault of their own. Because I liked them in their quiet moments. But I digress. So, the fact that there's so many fucking writers on here, and the writing and the story managed to at least stay consistent throughout, like, kudos, because there's like 4 or 5 fucking writers on this thing. Mm-hmm. But I'm here to talk about something we don't usually talk about. And that's the mixing on this. Oh, God. We mentioned a few times that this is a very early Funimation dub. The mixing on it is not great. Because there are several moments, and I had to confirm just to be sure that it's not just the show in general, and Megan helped me confirm it. There were moments where I either had to turn the TV up because the performances and the dialogue was so fucking quiet, or I had to turn the TV down because when you get the action scenes and you get like gunshots and explosions and all this fun stuff, it's so fucking loud. So, like, yeah. It'll start off really quiet, and I'll have to turn up to, like, hear them, and then all of a sudden, big action scenes happen, and it's, like, overpowering, and it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna blow my ears out, so I have to turn the damn thing down. The mixing on this is not that great, unfortunately. I think that's the one major gripe on, like, the technical side that I have with this show, which is unfortunate. And I quickly looked it up beforehand. There's, like... While there is only one mix engineer attached to this show, there are like 5 or 6 sound engineers attached to this show as well. So there were a lot of hands that got a hold of this. Mm-hmm. And I applaud them to make sure it was consistent. I applaud them that much. But my god. You would think that someone would try to level things out. Mm-hmm. But... I imagine back then, there was a lot of learning curves, so I can't be too mean to the show. It just sucks because I had to turn the TV up and down over the course of 24 episodes. But directing-wise, a lot of early casting in the Funimation pool, including a lead character probably like one of their very, very early voiceover works, which is very interesting. And then it's the writing. I didn't really have a lot of issues with directing and writing, honestly. I didn't see anything noticeable. It did go pretty straightforward with the show itself. It's just on the technical side, the mixing is probably the little bit of the jankiest part, but otherwise I thought it was fine.
Thanks, Steph. Patrick?
Yeah, I largely agree. This is very much an early Funimation dub, warts and all. I think a lot of the performances were fine. We'll get into each of them as we go. Direction was kind of in that learning process. Script writing was largely okay, but there was a lot of moments of, oh yeah, you're going to die. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, you're going to die. And when you die, it is because I killed you, kind of weird up and down script writing.
It likes to be a little hammy.
However, with a show like Trinity Blood, that actually kind of adds to the experience.
Yeah.
Because it in and of itself is just... The show itself is janky as hell, and the dub is an absolute treat when you take that into consideration. The casting runs the gamut of the old mid-2000s Funimation guard, which again, not a problem even now, but it is weird to come back around and see the beginnings of a lot of people who would become mainstays for well over a decade and a half. I should probably also mention that my first experience with Trinity Blood was largely the same. Adult Swim, episodes off and on, because, I wasn't going to stay up for it, unless I did. This was also a frequently voted upon mainstay with a group of friends of mine that would get together and play D&D on Sunday nights and then get together and watch anime. It would frequently make the pool, but it would never get voted on.
That's funny.
So, I only just watched it in its entirety for this episode. But overall, on the technical side, yeah, this is pretty much early Funimation, even with, especially with the sort of early janky audio mixing that sort of plagued a lot of their early Blu-ray releases. So, yeah. I'm pretty much done.
Okay, cool. So, my experience with this was, very much largely the same, that I would stay up very late at night and watch Trinity Blood when I was 14 or 15 years old. But then I got annoyed by having to wait weekly for episodes. So I would go on YouTube and watch them.
Trinity Blood, episode 2, part 1.
Yup!
Yes!
Part 1 of 3, baby!
Hell yeah.
So I watched the entirety of it as much as I could in subtitle, pirating it on YouTube back in the day of
That's funny.
YouTube could only have 10-minute long segments.
That's funny. I think that's how I watched 2001 Fruits Basket back in the day, actually.
I fucking love this show. I have always really liked this show. It is weird and janky and silly and dramatic, and I loved the dub. There's obviously a part of me who is now nearly 30 years old and will be 30 after 3 weeks after this episode goes up. Where it's yeah, my nostalgia for it, the logical part of my brain is yeah, the mixing on this is very, very janky. The dialogue's too soft, the sound effects are too loud. But the nostalgia part of me is this is perfect. Nothing will ever taint this dub in my eyes. I don't care how janky it is. It is my beloved, my precious.
No, nostalgia-wise, I get it. Like,
Yeah, but
nostalgia-wise, I 100% get it.
nostalgia-wise, like, this is fucking great. Like,
No, it is.
they don't make dubs like this anymore. They don't make shows like this anymore.
Oh, God,
isn't
no.
allowed. Gonzo isn't allowed to do bullshit like this in Last Exiled and Samurai 7 anymore.
And then you have, like, other ones like Gunkotsubo as well, so...
Yeah, Gankutsuo would. If Gankutsuo is made today, it would have been done by Science Saru.
Oh,
Let's go
probably,
with
yeah. For real.
But like, I think to me the thing that stood out when I watched this as a 30-year-old was actually how good a lot of the banter in this show is.
Yeah.
Writing wise, like this show has some genuinely funny moments at times. And I read a review from A&N from years ago when the Blu-ray of the show was released, and the upscale isn't very good. And they said that sometimes the dialogue felt way out of place compared to what, like how somber the Japanese was. But I don't remember a lot of the Japanese. But like some of my favorite lines include, "Please don't curse around me. I am still a clergyman." And, would you like some water? Do you have any water? Well, there's water all around us. Do I look like a sewer rat to you? But there are also
just great.
We'll talk about my bisexual awakening
I
later.
love her.
I think the cast is actually genuinely pretty well put together.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people who like to meme on this show's dub because of one person's acting. But I was actually genuinely surprised how solid it was, and even for an older Funimation dub, there are still some names that I was very surprised to see because they didn't really carry on outside of that era, or if they did, it was very minor stuff in newer age stuff. There are some people obviously who are big long name stays, but there are some others who aren't. So, And also be just a testament that the writing does actually make sense, even though it was in, like, a bunch of people's hands. It never really comes off as, like, a fucking crazy drain of, like, incoherence.
Right. It had
was
a through
coherent.
line. It had a through line, was coherent.
Alright, so I'm good with that. Are you ready to move on to the first set of characters?
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright, so let's take a trip to jolly old England. Albion, to talk about what is the last 4 episodes of the show, which is I think it's the Crown of Thorn in the Throne of Thorns arc.
Something like that, yeah.
It's something. I have it.
A lot of thorns. A lot of thorns are involved here.
You know what? I'm pulling up the episode list because the arcs are actually. They
Yeah,
have names.
They have names, and it's like 1, 2, 3.
3, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the Throne of Roses and the Crown of Thorns arc,
Yes.
which are the episodes 20 through 24 of the show. We have Mary Spencer, who is the acting general of Albion. She essentially takes care of the Pope and Esther while they're there, and then shit goes down because of Vanessa Walsh, who is one of a pair of Methuselah twins that lives in the city, who believes that after all this time, because the Methuselah of Albion have been forced to live in an underground ghetto and produce the technology that makes Albion so famous, they want their time to escape that and have a better life. And along the way, shit happens. And we find out that Esther is actually the Queen of England.
Yeah. Yeah, because the main reason why Esther and the Pope are there to begin with is the funeral of the queen who just passed.
The Queen of England who died,
Right.
and Esther kind of, her job literally becomes, she's good at being an envoy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Playing Mary Spencer is Clarion Harp, and playing Vanessa Walsh is Monica Rial. Clarion Harp, you'll know as the actors such as Say in Burst Angel, Gina Palki in Gangsta, and because I saw this name and I could not put it on there, Chiquita in Jormungand.
Chiquita Banana!
Monica Rial, you know as characters such as Michiko Melandro in Michiko and Hatchin, Mela Leona Vermillion in Black Clover, and Alma in Radiant. Patrick, do you mind starting us off?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I don't have a lot of opinion on either of them, just because their story arcs are kind of really compacted into those 4 episodes. Like, I almost don't remember any of Clarine Harp's performance as Mary Spencer.
Oh, wow.
Like, this is also kind of one of the earlier instances of Big Girl Monica, so, like, can't complain. Yeah. She yells, she gets angry real good. So, honestly, that's all I really have.
Steph?
I also don't have a lot of notes on these two, oddly enough. I have, like, 0 notes on Clarine Harp, though. Like, not even kidding. Yeah,
I'm really happy she's in this, because she's never in shit.
Yeah.
No, yeah, like, you don't often see... Like, Clarine Harp was a pretty decent mainstay in, like, the early 2000s. But nowadays, you'd be lucky if she, like, popped up in something, so...
Like, I think she's on the technical side of things, like, she actually authors the discs Funimation puts out.
She does.
Yeah, she does.
So you've seen her name in the credits a lot.
Yeah.
But not on the acting side.
Like, you always see her name in the credits, but you never see her pop up acting-wise. At least nowadays. But I do like how much of a authoritative tone that Mary has, taking control of the situation, because she's the one who has assumed control until they figure out who the hell is going to inherit the throne in fucking England. At this point, I'm just gonna call it England. I don't fucking care. It's England! Let's be real. And then, yeah, like Patrick said, this is one of the early instances of Big Girl Monica, which is always a delight. We love Big Girl Monica voices in this podcast. We really do. And Vanessa just has this, like, passion to her. Like, a little bit of a sense of authority, but she has this passion to her, because all she just wants is the Methuselah to, like, have their freedom and not just stay stuck in the ghetto for forever, like they had been for centuries. So I like both of them. It's just they each kind of had moments in the arc, but they weren't really big deals all that much, so they kind of ended up fading in the background to me partway through. So, yeah.
I'll go on. I actually put them here because I genuinely remember, if there are things I remember about this show, it is literally episodes 15 through 24. It is the last 2 arcs of the show that I remember in vivid detail. So I like Clarine's performance a lot. It has a lot of the military authoritative figure without sounding too rigid, and it also gives a sense of empathy and someone trying to connect with other people. And I'm never going to complain about Big Girl Monica voice. She does a fantastic job as Vanessa, and it actually sounds the least like Monica when she's in her big girl voice because it's so early on.
Yeah.
So anyway, time to move on to the next set of characters. Sorry, that was super short.
That was very quick.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of categories,
There's a lot of fucking characters.
We're gonna be here for a while.
Yeah. Which I have very much, and I hope the editor puts in here,
nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition!
Labeled, nobody expects the Inquisition.
Yes!
The Inquisition.
The Inquisition are...
Da-da-da. The Inquisition. Look out, Sin.
The Inquisition are basically like the other side of the AX. They are headed up by Francesco de' Medici, who is one of the 2 cardinals. He's Caterina's asshole brother, who believes
such a dick.
Who believes not in diplomacy, but beating the shit out of each other with nukes. He does not believe that humanity can negotiate with the Methuselah. He sees them as nothing but monsters with technology. And there's actually a really great line where Caterina yells at him for thinking that they're subhuman, even though they have a military might and technology that is civilized, and all he says is that, well, it just makes them more dangerous. And he has his two top knights, brother Pedro Orsini and sister Paula Sawaski. Petros is the big Templar knight guy, and Paula is the quieter, more sneaky one. Also, Petros has a spinning drill lance and rocket boosters. He's cool. Playing Petros is J. Paul Slavins, playing Paula is Wendy Powell, and playing Francesco is John Gramillion. J. Paul Slavins you'll know as Breaking Boss in Catherine Sins, Wiper in One Piece, and Oda Nobuhide in Kochoki. Wendy Powell you'll know as Emmy in Baki the Grappler, Envy in the Fullmetal Alchemist franchise, and Yuki in Midnight Occult Civil Servants. John Gramillion you'll know as characters such as Makoto Shinju in Area 88, Daiju Monobe in Eden of the East, and Gentle Criminal in My Hero Academia. Steph, you get to start it. Steph, you get to start it this time.
Sorry, there's a truck trying to, I think, maybe get into... Are you getting in here next to me? Because you are very loud and my audio is picking you up. I can't tell. If my audio magically picks up a truck, I'm sorry. So... These two I have notes on because they're in more than one arc. Or three, actually. Your original cast list just had Pietro and Paula together. And then we were like, Francisco deserves to be down here with these assholes. Well, I can't really call Pietro and Paula assholes after they actually, like, helped them out in the last arc, too. Because, okay, the one asshole in this show, in terms of the Vatican, is fucking Francisco. Like, not even gonna front. Francisco is, and oh, fuck it, we'll talk about John first in that regard. Francisco is such a dick. He doesn't give two shits about peace and prosperity. He's just doing it, a lot of the things he does for, like, fucking power grabs half the time. Like, and John Gramillion, like, really plays that very, very well, because that is a different John. That is not the one I want. Where is my note on John? he's both power hungry and an asshole, and it's just like, if anything were to sum it up, it would definitely be the last arc of the show where he decides, oh, the Pope's in danger from these fucking terrorists. Let's bomb the fuck out of them. And if the Pope dies, oh well, it was God's fucking will. He died as a martyr. You know what I mean? And then Katarina's like, are you fucking shitting me right now?
It's our little brother. He literally would shit himself.
Like, it's John Gramillion can play smarmy assholes very, very well, and Francisco's no exception to that. J. Paul Slavins, fuck. Like, my brain to mouth is wanting to flip the L and the A. Slavins. Both of them, him and Wendy Powell, are kind of like the brute strength folks you would expect, because J. Paul is like I'm sorry, my brain said, I said J. Paul and my brain was like, Jake Paul? What? I'm sorry, that's when my brain decided to go at 3:30 in the afternoon. Slavins, we're gonna go Slavins. He is very much this rough and gruff, rough and tumble kind of guy, but he is very, very devoted to his mission and his goals, and that's why, like, when Katarina requests him and Paula to help her rescue Pope Alessandro, instead of him getting fucking nuked to orbit by his fucking brother, they agreed to do it because he is like full of, has a huge sense of duty and is faithful to his mission, and that is to protect the Pope at all costs. So it's very, very good performance there. And Wendy Powell, it's always a delight to see Wendy Powell in things, and it's such a delight to see her come back in things nowadays too. It's I love it. Wendy is kind of the more, at least moderately more intellectual and more strategic-minded compared to Pietro. Because Pietro 9 times out of 10 is just like, dives in headfirst into situations and is like,
Leroy!
Leroy Jenkins!
Jenkins!
Pretty much, that's Pietro's character in a nutshell. But Paula likes to take a more strategic approach to things, and I think Wendy displays that very, very well, because the first time we're introduced to them is during the Eon arc, where we first meet Eon, and they're trying to hunt him down because apparently they think that he tried to attack Katarina when that wasn't the fucking case, and then sabotage and all that fun stuff. We'll talk about that in the next section. Yes,
mostly in the next section.
Mostly in the next section. But no, I loved Wendy. She has this like strong, level-headed approach to things and is much more strategic. So we got one who's very strategic, the other is just straight Leroy Jenkins and all this shit. And then Francisco is an asshole. So I think they all worked out very well.
Thanks, Steph. Patrick?
Leroy
Jenkins!
Literally throws himself at an airship.
Yeah, he actually does. Oh, didn't he fucking die in the end?
No,
No.
he got away.
he
Gets away with Paula.
Oh yeah, he does.
He literally rocket boosts away.
I'm sorry, I was in and out of watching the last episode, mostly because I was trying to get things ready in time to record what we were considering doing earlier. But don't worry, it's fine.
Okay, nobody will know.
Let me start with Francisco de Medici. He's great. Like, John Gramillion is just this really forceful but charismatic kind of like strongman. You don't come out liking the guy, but like it's just this. It's a really strong performance for the show, and J. Paul Slavins and Wendy Powell are an absolute delight whenever they're on screen. They are just the right balance of meathead and ambiguous morality that is just... Like, I really don't have too much to say about any of these three characters other than, like, they're just an absolute blast to watch. Particularly with Petro. Like, he is just this blunt brick wall. Just an absolute meathead of a man. And I think J. Paul Slavins did a spectacular job just giving him that... Oh, boy.
That meathead.
I'm running out of words, and this is, like, one of my favorite... This is one of my favorite collective groups that we'll be talking about.
They're fun. They're a lot of fun.
It's okay, take your time.
But it's just this meathead charisma, I guess. Like, he is absolutely dumb about everything, but you're just like, you know what? I'm gonna follow this guy. He may not know what he's doing, but I think I'll be fine.
I got this. It's no big deal.
And Wendy Powell is pretty obviously the smarter of the two. She mostly just kind of beats Petro into... Or, browbeats Petro into basically... following through on whatever their mission is. Because Petro... While he doesn't want to admit it, he kind of has a crisis of faith in the, Oh, God.
In the Albion arc.
Yeah, what was, Oh, what was the name of the arc with,
With Ian? With Aaron? With,
Yeah.
Eon?
With Eon.
Oh, yeah, at the beginning of the shit, I got it for you. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't
At the
remember
beginning,
the city.
That's
Uh,
not,
Carthage.
Carthage, thank you.
Or as they call it, Cartago.
Yeah.
But it's Carthage.
Yeah, the Carthage arc. Which carries over with their continued appearances, particularly in England. I really like that sort of transition where they're like, yeah, we technically can't help you, but we're gonna help you anyway.
Yeah.
Because we respect you.
And we owe you a favor.
And they also owe him a favor.
And it's like, we don't want to see the Pope die. That's stupid. Are you fucking nuts?
That's a bad idea, no matter how you slice it.
Again, Francisco, power-hungry asshole.
Francisco,
But
please.
yeah, like I said, this is one of my favorite groups collectively that we'll be talking about. They all did a great job.
And then that comes to me. I'll start with John first. I think he does a really good job making Francesco sound threatening and cold. He also very much sounds like a person who is in denial of the world around them. Because not only does he believe that the Methuselah can't be peace and negotiated with, he also causes a lot of other shit to happen.
Yeah, he's the reason why a lot of shit gets fucked up throughout the show.
Like how Rome almost gets destroyed by a sound bomb.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because he's like, our uncle can't be evil, surprise. Fooled you. And just, he is genuinely just such a disgusting person.
Yeah.
Because he's willing to sacrifice his young brother, who is a big baby. Like, the biggest of babies in the series.
Yep.
For the sake of starting another Armageddon war.
Again, if he dies, it is God's will. Fuck
Well.
you, man.
And just, like, he hasn't had the racism is bad hammer hit with him yet.
Yeah.
Wendy as Paula is, I think, a lot of fun because you don't get to hear Wendy play a lot of these types of characters, anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she does a good job being kind of the more sneaky one, but at the same time, I like that you kind of get the hints that she might have more than, platonic feelings for Petros. I thought that was well woven in. I also like the fact that the show actually does do a decent job of very quietly weaving in people's alliances. Because you know that the reason Katerina has her number is because she helped her during the lead up, the Carthage part.
Mm-hmm.
That's why she helps her. Is she was helping her during Carthage. Because she killed the Night Hunter that Dietrich sent.
Yes.
So they're okay with each other, and I think that because she knows what Katerina's going for, she's more willing to work with them. But at the same time, she also isn't willing to give up. She's the last between Petro and her to give up her faith, her biases. And J. Paul Slavins is hamming it up as Petro.
Oh, yeah.
Like Petro is unsubtle as shit.
Oh yeah.
But he also gets down, because Petro is unsubtle as shit, that Petro has a heart that is loyal and true, and that he's willing to put aside his biases for the greater good.
Absolutely.
And I really like the part where Eon and him talk in the Carthage arc, and John's delivery of, I will be your shield and halberd, but the second we're done, I'm getting your head.
Yeah.
And then just him going full Leroy Jenkins on the tank. Because, you know, Electro tank.
No thoughts. Just Leroy Jenkins.
No thought, head empty, warrior for God.
Yup. Accurate.
God Slayer 69 has entered the chat. Or God Defender 89 has entered the chat.
Oh shit. Yeah.
But that's all I have for them. So let's move on to kind of one of the first, the what I would call the major arc of the story.
Yeah.
Which is the New Human Empire, aka the Night Visitors arc, which is by far the best part of the fucking story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arguably, yeah.
I fucking love the Night Hunt. I love this arc so much. So, we have the Empress of the New Human Empire, the Queen of all Methuselah, Augusta Vaderica, or, as she's actually known, Seth Nightroad, aka Abel's younger sister and one of the test tube Kruzniks.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how in Fire Force, Rika Fajardo's character has the barred tuba of freezing death?
Yes.
Imagine that on steroids, but with tuning forks. And I'm going first in this segment to explain a lot of things.
Oh man, you're right.
Oh boy.
Acting as her face is Mirica Fortuna, who is Eon's really, really hot grandma.
Yeah. I completely
Thank you, Vampire Aging.
I was I completely forgot how young she was.
How young she looks.
How young she looks, yes. And I was like, oh, wait.
She is in on the whole assassination attempt against the Empress the entire time, working in tune with Seth to outsmart the Order of Rosencreutz, as well as draw out into the open the people who stand against her. And she also works as Seth's, basically her right hand. Then we have Suleiman, who is one of the nobles of the New Human Empire, who believes himself to be no longer favored by Seth because he cannot understand her motivations, and turns against her with the help of the Order, only to, well, be shot through the heart.
And you're too late, you gave love a bad name.
And then there's Radu, who is the Baron of Luxor. He is the, what the hell is that term?
Tavash.
Who is essentially a partner that you would die for in Methuselah culture, to Eon, who has betrayed him because he believes that he cannot be seen by the Empress and stands against her ideals. However, it is very much that the Order is using him, and he eventually becomes a body serf for a more villainous character.
Yes.
But he works with Suleiman with the multiple attempts to kill the Empress and blame it and frame it on Eon and Esther. And unfortunately, things don't really turn out for him, and Radu gets the sonic boom, let's go with that.
Yeah, for lack of better phrasing, yes.
Playing Seth Nightroad is Hilary Haig, playing Mirica is Jennifer Seaman, playing Suleiman is J. Michael Tatum, playing Radu is Jason Lebret. This is the only role Hilary Haig ever drove to Funimation for. And until her reprisal as Tethala Testarossa in Full Metal Panic Invisible Victory, this was the only role she had ever done for Funimation.
Huh.
But like I said, you will know her as Tethala Testarossa from the Full Metal Panic franchise. Satsuko Mideyoshi from Ghost Stories. You can fuck with my friends, you can fuck with my family, but don't fuck with my cat.
I mean, I relate to that.
That is one of my favorite Ghost Stories lines.
I relate to that because my cat moved to the floor now. He's been sitting next to me this entire time until now. So.
Baby. And Rosette Christopher in Chrono Crusade. Jennifer Stoneman, you'll know as characters such as Akeguni in Basilisk, Hon Ona in Hellgirl, and Ryoko Naruse in Shangri-La. J. Michael Tatum is a name that I think everybody here is familiar with, but if you're not, he has characters such as Magwald Zargan in Blasterder, Michael Kohara in Gaire Zero, and 1010 in Oedo Rocket. And Jason Lebrecht is also no stranger to this series, being characters such as Kisaragi Simon in Basilisk, Train Heartnet in Black Cat, and Shaoran in Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles.
We still need to do Black Cat sometime, dude.
Yeah, we do. Stop reminding me.
I know, you just reminded me. I'm like, oh.
That's another old Funimation dub that Mike McFarlane did.
Oh.
That also came out while I was in high school.
I haven't watched that in years.
I haven't either, actually.
Oh, man.
So I'll start this off because, again, this is my favorite arc, so I know the most about this. I love Hilary Haig as Seth. She plays... Seth is a really complex character. She is a little girl that is this old, 900-year-old plus empress that knows that she was born to be a test tube baby. And you get to see it later on in the flashback when Abel is a young child living in the space station, that even she fears Kane as a young girl. And it is her fault that Kane got to Earth in the first place. Because she figured, if we drop him from space orbit, he'll burn up in the atmosphere.
Oh.
Except for he didn't.
Oops-a-daisy. You fucked
But
up.
You fucked up. I fucked up. But the thing I really love about her is the way that they actually go about introducing her into the series is that from the end of episode 11 that she is the Empress.
Yes.
Because you hear her talk at the very end, and Hilary's voice is very distinct. So if you're paying attention to voiceover, you will know that Mirika has a different voice than what we have. But of course, you could always be like, oh, well, she's using a voice modifier. Because when she reveals herself to Suliman, she's using it too. Mm-hmm. And then it's revealed, and he's like, what the fuck? And everybody's like, what the fuck? And the thing I like it is that when she's just the little kid, the tea seller in the town, and I love the fact that she disguises herself as that so she can know, quote-unquote, her children better, that she's very playful and the very much Hilary Haig of, oh, hey, that's Hilary Haig, and then she switches into Empress mode. And the scene between her and J. Michael Tatum where he's tried to kill her, but he misses the shot. Because Suliman can't bring himself to kill her. Mm-hmm. Even despite all of the things he's tried to do, he still loves being in her service. And just Tatum's performance is heartbreaking, and just Hilary's response of, where he's like, I can't understand you, and that's why I did this. And her delivery of, if I had all of the answers myself, I would have told you, basically. How she's such a character in conflict that she herself doesn't know who she is, even though she knows what she's done.
Yeah.
And then there's the part where she goes full Kruznik and basically turns the man into ash.
Oh, that was just so satisfying.
I also do want to give credit to the monster effect on her voice and all the Kruzniks, because it's really good. Mm-hmm. But if you catch on really quick, you know that she's the one who is, because she turns one of the Death Hunters into it while Esther's asleep.
Yep.
Well, Esther's out cold, she turns into her Kruznik form, and Ash is a motherfucker.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. Seth is cool as shit.
She's very cool.
And then, I'm not really familiar with Jennifer Seaman's work very much. I think she does a good job holding herself as an older but not too old character. I think she does a really good job playing the Empress face. So having to play a character who is very much acting like another character is something that I've always thought is something very impressive, so I want to give her compliments. J. Michael Tatum is on point as fuck as Suliman.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Like,
yep.
It felt like a very modern day J. Michael Tatum performance, even though this was 15 years ago. He always had it. I think that he does a very good job playing Suliman as both the slimy asshole that he is, and being that face of just like, I'm really a good guy. I've never done anything bad. I love the Empress. How dare you accuse me? And then slowly but surely, as that mask is fading, I love the part where he starts fighting Seth on the cliff near the mausoleum.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's how she knows that he's against her the whole time. Because she's like, I love the part where it's like, you even drew your weapon against me. It's like, I never drew my weapon against you. Oh, fuck, I drew my weapon against you.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
The reveal is just like, yup.
I just love everybody's reaction just being the fuck, oh fuck. Suliman being the oh fuck. And Jason Lebrecht as Radu is another case of a character acting as if he's another character. Obviously the Radu that is the real Radu dies before a majority of his arc.
Yep.
Because it is Jason not playing Radu is played by Jason Lebrecht. It's Jason Lebrecht playing Radu as controlled by the actor for Dietrich.
Yes.
And he had to match the intensity of that character because you can tell that this is not the same Radu. Because the Radu we met, even though he was against Eon, still very much cared about him and couldn't bring himself to kill him. He was his Tovarish, and it pained him. And he only did the things he did because he was manipulated by the Rosencrantz Order.
Yeah.
And he does get these kind of moments of ham, like when he's in the tank. and then he gets railgunned.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
But I love that moment when they're in the procession to go to the mausoleum. And he breaks free of the control, and you can just hear the desperation and love in his voice of, please just leave at this moment. I can't keep him off anymore.
Right.
And a lot of people, I think, over the years have thought Jason Lebrecht isn't the most talented actor until he started really being Dobby and My Hero and some stuff. But I think this
No. Those people are wrong.
I think this shows that he's had the talent all along. It's just that people, maybe some of the roles that he was put in, pushed his voice direction in the wrong way. But I think he does a really great job here. And I'm done and gonna pass it over. Let's go with Steph.
Whoever said that Jason Lebrecht is not a good actor, they are wrong. I'm just saying. Because he's a great actor. It's not even a joke. I may as well talk about Jason first, actually. Because freaking Radu is very, very, like, the villains of this show in general kind of fall into this category of, like, slimy, smarmy, like they exude evil, basically. And Radu is no exception, but you are also very much, like, to the point when you said, like, Radu, Jason doesn't just play Radu as Radu. He also has to be Radu as controlled by Puppet Master Man. So, like, Jason gets to have a lot more to play with, which is great. But in the earlier moments where Radu is this kind, gentle person, cares so much about his Torvash, Eon, a lot. Like, it's very gentle and understanding and kind of helps ground Eon in the early parts of his introduction. Because Eon's just like, these motherfuckers, they attacked me, to hell with this. And Radu's just like, no, we're on a mission from the Empress. Calm down. Like, Radu just helps ground Eon in those early parts. So I think Jason is phenomenal. I'll admit, when I first was watching the show again, I heard Radu. Jason is almost unrecognizable for parts of it. Like, it's not the usual tone of voice that a person would associate Jason Lebrecht's performances to be like. So, I'm just like, this is not Jason. This is not Jason. And then I could hear slight twinges of it when I was really paying attention later on. I was like, oh, there it is. But no, I really do like Jason. He was great. Suleiman is exactly the kind of Tatum that you would expect, and it's phenomenal. Because Suleiman can be very charismatic, and he's such a leader in the Empire as well. And he's just has this broad scope, is like, we must all do our part for our Empress's sake. But then behind the scenes, just like,
Fucker.
Yo, wanna kill a bitch?
Fuck them kids.
Fuck a bitch up. But no, his downfall is definitely one of the more somber moments in the course of the show, because you see, after Astra shoots a fucking hole in him, Seth takes him into her lap, basically, and they have a quiet little conversation, and it's just one of the more somber moments, and, like, Tatum nails that very, very well. Oh, it's so good. Jennifer Seaman. I had to look her up real quick while you were talking, and I'm like, what are other roles? I know I've heard that tone of voice. And there are 2 instances that I can think of. One being as Kodako Fujioka, so Haruhi's mom in Ouran High School Host Club.
Mm-hmm.
And as the narrator for Mushishi.
Oh, that was her.
So the second I saw that, I was like, okay. Because she doesn't do a ton. She has done more, like, recent stuff in the past few years. Like, she had a small role in Luck and Logic, for instance. Panty and Stocking, fucking, World Break. Oh, no. But no, like, Jennifer has this, I had a note. She has a gentle and regal tone to her, which is like a calming presence, and she knows how to like take charge and take control of things and be like have that inspirational tone of voice, if that makes sense. Especially when she is playing the role of the Empress during the course of the arc, because Seth is like, nah, someone's gonna fucking kill me, and Mirka Fortuna is just like, alright, I'll step in for you, and you can try and hide and figure shit out, and Seth's just like, okay! But no, Jennifer has this gentle, regal tone that's just very commanding, and I think it works very well. And then Hillary as Seth is the cutest little thing, like, ever. She's very spunky and just peppy and has a good amount of energy to her. However, she's not afraid to put on the big girl pants and kick your fucking ass. And I think Hillary nails it so well. Especially, like, bringing it up again. Especially when she goes full Kruznik on Radu and his ass. Like, she's like, nah, we ain't dealing with this shit. Here's my tuning forks, let's fucking go, bitch. Turn to dust, let's go. Radu wasn't feeling good that day. I just realized I had to make that joke. No, but, these are all such fun performances, and, like, in terms of story arcs, no, 100%, like, this story arc in particular, and the one just prior to that, where we're introduced to Eon, like, really is what pushes the story forward. And I think that plus this arc, like, is probably the best part of the show, in all honesty, because it's so fucking good. Like, it really is, story-wise, and the progression of characters. I love it. I'm done.
Patrick?
Okay, where do I begin? I think I'm gonna start with Suleiman and Radu. They are basically the closest thing to a villain of this arc, other than somebody we'll be talking about here in a minute. The real villain, in the, like, almost literally in the Scooby-Doo sense, with the mask getting
honestly,
pulled
yeah.
off.
Fooled you!
I would have gotten away for it too if it wasn't for those meddling AX agents.
Fuck them kids.
Fuck them kids.
Anyway, like, this is pretty much the archetypal Tatum role of the time. Very wise and immature until, you know, the more conniving side shows its face. So I really don't have too much to say about it. And I do agree with you guys that Jason Lebrecht really doesn't get the credit he deserves for actually being, like, a legitimately good actor. Fun fact, in the middle of watching this, I hint at it in the episode that will probably be coming out the week after this. I had never seen Empire of Corpses until I watched the show that, you know, the plan for next week's episode was
As of
recording.
the time of this recording?
As of this recording, yes.
And I actually finally watched it in the middle of watching Trinity Blood here, and, like...
Empire of Corpses is so good.
and it was because I was also in the New Human Empire arc as I started it, so it was really interesting watching the progression of Jason Lebrec's career. Because obviously I'm also watching My Hero Academia, and like that sort of 3-stage between Radu, which is one of his really early performances, Watson in The Empire of Corpses, and then what he's probably best known as right now, Dabi in My Hero Academia. Like, watching the progression of his career in real time was just kind of surreal. But I also really love the fact that Radu is kind of a conniving snake, but it's also not really him. And it's also basically Jason Lebrec trying to play another actor who is also sort of wearing his character like a skin puppet.
Because he is.
Yeah, he is.
Like,
It slides on nicely. Slides on nicely, sorry.
Oh, God. I just got fucking puts the lotion on the skin or else it gets the Hosegren vibes.
You're not wrong.
Oh my god, that is, I want to watch Silence of the Lambs now again, thank you for that.
Literally just got a chill down my spine right before I said that. I was like,
Now I want to watch Silence of the Lambs. It's one of my favorite fucking movies, by the way.
I really don't have too much to say about Jennifer Seaman as Mirka. Like, it was good. She did a really good job sort of playing a motherly character. Like, that's really kind of the crux of my notes. I was really interested to learn that Hilary Haig was, Augusta or Seth, depending on what you wanted to call her. The performance sounded like a bunch of other actresses I was aware of simultaneously. And it was really surreal trying to pinpoint exactly who she was until I saw the credits.
oh, wow.
And I can't even put my finger on what actresses she sounded like in this performance. It sort of switched back and forth between a bunch. And I think that's really cool. So, yeah, great performances in this little section of characters. Thumbs up.
Awesome, thank you. Let's move on to our next set of characters.
Oh boy.
Oh, I like how you're like, oh boy, and it's literally the Pope and his uncle.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy, and it's actually a boy.
Yeah. Pope Alessandro the 15th. He's kind of a bitch. He cries a lot. Yeah. He doesn't understand why he's in power. He doesn't think he should be. Mm-hmm. But by the end of it, he kind of finally grows a pair.
Yeah.
And is a good person. Who is not a good person is his uncle, who tries to level Rome with a sound nuke.
Yeah.
And then those pesky AX agents get in the way of that.
Yep.
I would have gone away for it too if it wasn't for those meddling AX agents.
Also, like, a giant sound tentacle squid comes out!
Yeah!
That fucking happened.
This show can be weird sometimes.
It's the big lift alligator moment. Playing Pope Alessandro the 17th, I'm sorry, I can't read my things, is Greg Ayres, and playing his uncle, whose name is Alfonso de Este, is John Swayze. Greg Ayres knows such characters such as Shiro and Beckett in the Mongolian Chop Squad, Negi and Negima, and Because It's Me, and I'm very sad that this is locked in a vault somewhere, and the day that it comes back to fucking streaming, I will force people to do an episode on it with me. He is Kosuke Asazuki in Spiral. John Swayze knows characters such as The Undertaker and Black Butler, Mr. and Coyote Ragtime Show, and Bernhardt Rhodes in Kaze no Stigma.
Can I say one thing, and you're gonna be mad that I didn't do this?
What?
So, when Andrew and I were at Kineticon, there was a vendor, as people would probably know, Otaku Joe's, right?
Did he have a copy of Spiral?
He had a fucking copy of Spiral.
He
It was
did
either
not.
Spiral or Petite Princess Yushi, one of those two. Because I spotted it, and I'm like, Megan would appreciate this. I bought
How much was it?
I
You-
I
does
didn't
this
pay
guy
attention
have
to
a
that.
fucking? Does this guy have a fucking site?
No, he doesn't. Most of his stuff
Even
is
eBay.
no, either eBay or some stuff through like Facebook. But I bought Paradise Kiss from him instead. So,
Yeah, I know you did. Ow.
but I knew I saw it was either Spiral. I'm pretty sure it was Spiral or Petite Princess Yushi. One of those two that I know you fucking have, and I know you will die on the hill that you would love to talk about them some point.
And they're both not streaming,
Right. So I was like, oh, damn, Megan would appreciate this. It probably cost a couple $100. Let's not even front, because it was like the box.
Oh wow.
So
I'm looking through his store, so you can go first.
cool. Let's see. So I'll start with John. John is really only there for like the 2 or 3 episodes during the incident.
Bless you.
No, I was coughing. I'm trying not to die. Let's try again. I'll start with John. John's really only there for a couple of the episodes during the instance where, sound waves destroy the Vatican.
Attempt to destroy the Vatican.
Close enough. What's the fucking difference at this point?
They leveled Barcelona.
They leveled Barcelona, and we lost probably one of the best characters in the show because of it. That's my opinion.
Punks.
But this show likes to take the show and this dub. There's a running theme where it likes to take its villain characters and make them either their villain characters or the roadblock characters like Francisco, and either make them the most smarmy yet kind of charismatic and seductive, or, in the case of John and Alfonso, the biggest fucking asshole you could ever imagine. Because, this show does not play subtleties as to Alfonso being a villain. It does not. You can, right from the bat, and including John's performance, you know that this dude is bad news.
Mm-hmm.
So,
100%.
the show does nothing to hide it, and the dub does nothing to hide it too, to go with it, and I love it. John is just such a dick. He's a slimy sounding, conniving bastard, and I love it. It's so much fun. Greg Ayres as Alessandro, this precious piss baby of a bean.
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong. He's a precious bean, but he's also a fucking
Piss
piss baby.
baby. Just the way you disrupt piss baby.
It's true. You can't tell me I'm wrong. You 100% agree on it. So I think I remember when I watched this back in the day, I thought it was very weird and jarring that Greg was this character for some fucking reason. Looking at it now, I don't mind it at all. It works very well. There are minor moments where it can be screechy. Just very minor, just a touch. And it's those tiny moments where it's like, uh-oh, I hope he's not pushing his vocals too much. But other than that, I really liked him. He's just a lot of his acting was voiced to kind of describe a physicality, he's acting inward, he's kind of crouched in on himself, and he's a terrified, scared little bean most of the time, and it really, I think, comes out in the performance a lot. But I do appreciate that Alessandro gets his own little moment in the last arc too, where fucking he's on his own. He's separated from Esther after Vanessa and her group are trying to make him a hostage in this whole situation, and he runs into other Methuselahs who are living in the ghetto. So he's learning a lot more about them, and he's realizing, oh, these people aren't as bad as what I know of, or what my brother Francisco, because again, Francisco's a fucking asshole and essentially a racist. Like, they're not as bad as what I've been told this whole time. And he is the one who actually saves Vanessa from Pietro, when Pietro and Paula go, like, find him and rescue him, and Pietro fights Vanessa. So Alessandro's the one who saves Vanessa, because he's starting to, like, come to terms and learn, like, hey, these people, I want to help them. There's a lot I don't know. And my favorite little part is right at the tail end of that, where he's talking to Katerina, and he just says, when we get back, when we get home, I want to talk to you about this. And she's just, like, surprised, but she's like, okay. No, I think Greg's just phenomenal. I love it so much. But both of them are, oh, you found it. Sorry.
It's not from him, but it's cheap, and it's actually a good price.
Good to know. But, no, for both of these performances, John is a fucking dick, and I love it. And Greg as Alessandro, minor twinge screechy, but just minor. But otherwise than that, I loved it. He's this fucking sweet bean piss baby, and I love it. Now I have to look at this. I'm done.
Patrick, go ahead.
Yeah. Let me just pull everybody back up, because I can't remember names worth shit.
Not bad. Fuck. You sure this is legit?
Yeah, it's legit. I'm looking through the pictures.
Oh my god.
That's how the set looks. It looks exactly like mine.
John Swayze's a smarmy bastard. You can tell the smarminess as soon as his character is introduced. Like, it's just like, oh, hey, water under the bridge that I lost the papal election to this little shit. Pretty much. And you know what? This is probably the point where I would make the fuck them kids joke.
Yeah.
Because that is basically Alfonso d'Este's arc in a nutshell. It is just dripping with slime and sleaze, and it's great. I love it. And honestly, I had confused Greg Ayres as Alessandro with another actor we'll be talking about in another performance. Back when we were first talking about this episode and I was joking around.
Yeah. Oh, I remember this conversation now.
I really like Greg Ayres as Alessandro. It was a little unusual coming back to it after so many years, but, like, I think he did a really great job playing Pope Alessandro as a kid. Which, you know, Funimation had a fair stable of actors that could play, like, young teens at this point. But I can't think of any of them being able to play Alessandro as well as Greg did. Again, the Albion arc, as Steph was saying, is probably the highlight of his performance, where he basically gets kidnapped. He gets away, and then has to look at sort of the subjugation of the Methuselah population in the country. So, like, this was great all around. So, major thumbs up.
I'll start with John. He does a good job playing the sleazy asshole uncle who gets duped by the Scooby-Doo gang. Except for the Scooby-Doo gang is literally a bunch of adults in a church. I like that he gets to have fun doing this evil character. And I also think that Greg does a fantastic job as the Pope. I think he plays that sniveling coward role really well. But I also like the quiet strength that Alessandro gets by the end of the series. And I love the scene with that little girl where he's like, I'm not important, because he gets yelled at all the time.
Yes, where she asks
with the
him
rabbit.
Yeah.
To bless the rabbit,
Bless
and
the
then he
bunny.
does, because she gives him confidence. And I just like that there's a running theme of the show of little children wanting to body the church.
And you know,
We'll get to that later.
honestly, I think it's a little unfair to call Alessandro a sniveling coward. He's more
Because
of a
he's not.
naive child
Yeah.
Forced into power.
forced into
Right.
power.
Yeah, because his uncle comes back to blow up Rome because he's mad at him. For no
Right.
good reason.
Like, how fucking old do they say Alessandro is?
He's like 14.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you put a teenager in power who doesn't know
He's
what
like
the fuck
14
to
or
do.
15, so he was like 10 when he became Pope, because it was 5 years ago.
Right. Yeah, because he's around the same age as Esther, right?
Yeah, they're like the same age.
Yeah.
basically.
So yeah, like, you put a child in power. What the fuck is this kid supposed to do?
Cry.
Yeah, exactly.
And then his brother yells at him all the fucking time.
Again, fucking Francisco.
Fuck you, Francisco.
Fuck you.
Fuck you, Alfonso.
If he dies, it's the will of God. Fuck off. I'm sorry, that just upsets me.
I just like how he learns that racism is wrong and immediately tells
Mm-hmm.
Pietro to stop, and he hugs him, and Pietro's like,
What am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah,
pretty much.
pretty much. Pietro's like, I
He's like,
listen
Paul's
to
like,
my,
just
I-
kill
I
the
listen to his
vampire,
will.
and Pietro's like, but he's attached to me.
Yeah. He's like,
You
I
know
will
who's
listen to
not-
my Pope. He is the one in charge. And I'm like, oh, cool.
You know who wants to be in charge, though? The Order of Rosencrantz.
Oh, lordy.
To which the way I said that, do you want to know the exact thing that popped up into my head as soon as I said Rosencrantz?
Schadenfreude? No.
Dr. Doofenshmirtz Incorporated.
Fuck.
An AX agent? Abel the Krusnik AX agent?
Hold on. I had something. It's coming back.
Oh no.
Doofenshmirtz Order of Rosencrantz.
Yes! Hell yeah. I love it.
I know I'm fucking seeing Isaac going an AX agent. Because he's got the thickest accent of all of them. Abel the AX agent.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh no.
I fucking like tangent about hockey for a second. So the Lightning have gotten Corey Perry on their team after he's been against us the last 2 times in the finals. And I swear to God, the amounts of Perry, a platypus, Corey Perry, the hockey platypus
Oh my
jokes
God.
never make me stop laughing.
Nice.
Dr. Doofenshmirtz jokes are always funny. The Order of Rosencrantz, as known as the Contra Mundi, they are basically What We Do in the Shadows Evil Edition.
Yeah.
Great.
They aren't drinking the people's bloods who are on drugs, and now we're on drugs and I have a cone on my head. Fun. They are run by the puppet master Dietrich von Lohengrin, who you meet when we meet Esther, where he pulls her strings to essentially have a giant satellite nuke a city.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you do.
As you do. There's Isaac Ferdinand von Kampfer, who is, by the way, Dietrich is the only human member of the order. He is human.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Isaac is a Methuselah. He is kind of their science guy. He builds the sound bombs, plays the pipes, nukes Barcelona to the ground, kills Noel, and then it gets destroyed in the best fight in the series. Who would win? An airship with a giant set of drones making the shields, a Castlevania ripoff, and a guy with a laser lance. A drill lance.
And what was that? An Aston Martin flying in the sky?
A flying Aston Martin in an airship run by a hologram. I love when the Aston Martin started flying. Patrick's like, and now we have the flying Aston Martin.
Yes. He put that in
Which
the chat
the
earlier.
only thing that I thought of was the clerk's flying cars bit. To which you'd suck a man's dick for a flying car? I thought I knew you, man.
Look,
And then their leader.
all
sorry,
of
go
this
ahead.
bullshit in the final episode and a half. And then all of a sudden, an Aston Martin just sprouts wings and flies.
It's like, man.
Sure! Fucking sure! Why not?
We come this
if
far.
I can see it, then I can do it. If I just believe it, there's nothing to
Oh,
it.
the timing of this,
The
though.
Aston Martin can fly.
Bro, the timing of this. The timing
I'm
of
just-
this bit.
Could you say I pissed that one out?
Yeah.
The timing of this bit. Oh,
Solid
oh.
you, Art.
gold in shower.
Fuck you, R. Kelly, rot in prison. Speaking of things that should rot in prison, Kane Nightroad. Kane Nightroad is Abel's twin brother. They are basically twins, who slowly went more crazy with due to the cruisings inside of him. They eventually drop him onto the earth. He doesn't work. He comes back and decides to fuse Abel. But because Abel there's a thing where Esther sees Abel's cruising form and calls him a monster. When she comes in again, he hesitates, and that gives him all of the moment to, make Abel go explode. He also makes Dietrich go explode, and she has him through the heart. And then we have what can only be described as every emo teen's wet dream, watching two fallen angels duke it out in the sky, in space, over a church. The only thing that was missing was Bring Me to Life playing under it.
See, I asked this question earlier, and I didn't get an answer. Because I had the same thought when I first, when I watched the whole show, 5 years ago. Who fucking ripped who off? Trinity Blood or fucking D and Angel?
Oh, that's an easy
Yes.
question. They both ripped off Devilman.
Yes!
Somewhere
Oh,
Gona Guy
shit.
is just sitting there like, yes, it's that sickos panel, but it's just Gona Guy.
Shit. Oh god, I love it.
Playing Kate Nightroad is our director, Mike McFarlane. Playing Isaac Ferdinand von Kempfer is Christopher Ayres, and playing Dietrich von Lohengrin is Justin Cook. Mike McFarlane, you know his characters such as Bruce J. Speed in The Galaxy Railways, Skymaster in Heaven's Lost Property Forte, and Goemon Ishikawa in the Funimation dub of Lupin III: Dragon of Doom. Chris Ayres will know his characters such as Corset in Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt, Shingen Takeda in Sengoku Basara, and Choji Suigetsu in Speedgrapher.
Sweet Tengu. It's Sweet Tengu.
Sweet Tango.
Speedgrapher's
Sweet
a fucking trip, by the way. I haven't watched it in years, but I have it.
Tango. Justin Cook, you'll know his characters such as Donor Dantes in Aquarion Aval, Aiko Kawaguchi in Desert Punk, and Shinya Ito in Star Blazer Space Battleship, Yamato 2199. Patrick, you go first.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Where do I begin?
Where do we fucking start with these assholes?
God, I'm gonna start with Isaac Ferdinand. Just because, holy shit, we do not talk about Chris Ayres enough on the show.
No, we don't, unfortunately. He's amazing.
Which, if he happens to be listening to this episode, I hope your recovery is going well.
Yeah.
He is just this absolute... Oh, how do I describe Isaac Ferdinand? Oh.
An organ-playing Nazi?
Okay, sure.
That's accurate, so...
I mean, he literally is an organ-playing Nazi.
Yeah, there's no other way to describe it, really.
He just plays him with such absolute evil charisma. Like, you're not for what he's doing, but it's like, you know what? I'm gonna hear this guy out. And then he does creepy science shit. Like, he can put back together Kane Nightroad when people blow his limbs off. And then probably one of the most technically impressive actors in the show is probably Justin Cook. Between him and Jason LeBret. Because Diedrich is basically the character that wears Radu like a skin puppet. And they both basically have to give the same consistent performance. Basically as Radu's body. And it's just technically spectacular. I love shit like that. Like, that is the good shit in terms of dubs. And then Mike McFarland as sort of the... Like, did anybody else kind of get vibes that Kane Knight Road is basically just a child who doesn't necessarily understand humanity?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, more so than Abel when he was a kid. Like, he just wants to break everything for the sake of breaking it. Which is probably one of the most evil things you can do, except for, let's say, hoarding all the Blahaj dolls. Even though there really isn't a shortage, except in the UK. Angrily glaring at people.
Are you glaring at me?
No, I'm not glaring at you. I'm glaring at the people who are depriving me of the Blahaj doll that I can give to you.
Oh, so sad.
Because I'm trying, but they won't ship them because they're in such high demand. Damn it, IKEA!
That's why we're gonna go raid an That's why we're going to raid an IKEA.
We're gonna shark at IKEA,
You
folks.
shark doll
Go.
scalpers! You are the evil of this world. Anyway. Yeah, Mike McFarland is just deliciously hammy as Kane Knight Road. And it is, like, that last fight scene in episode 24 is the most chuny shit I have seen in a long-ass time.
But it's so cool!
Okay, the fact that you said chuny shit, and I'm like, oh no, it's all coming together.
Oh yeah,
Thanks,
like,
Kronk.
oh,
it's all
fuck.
coming together.
Oh no.
Like, this is...
But it's so good.
No, it is absolutely great, but at the same time, it is basically the Dragon Ball Z
Can
Linkin
you
Park
see
AMV.
into my
How much you want to bet?
back open
How much you want to
doors?
fucking bet that someone made an actual AMV?
Oh,
Look, I'm not putting money on
100%
it because I know it's gonna be right.
Oh, okay. While you're talking,
To the internet.
I'm already going. Let's.
All right. I mean,
Does
honestly,
it have to be? Does it have to be to Linkin Park?
these three are just absolutely great. And I may have lied earlier that that the Inquisition was my favorite group of this show because the Order of Rosencreutz either gives them a run for their money or just flat out wins it. I'm not sure which. I may need some more rewatches down the line in order to determine that. Yeah, good stuff. Thumbs up.
I hate how you keep saying the Order of Rosencreutz, and I can't unhear Doofenshmirtz.
Doofenshmirtz, Order of Rosencreutz.
Steph, please go before I die.
I'm looking up AMVs. Fuck you.
No, fuck you. It's your turn.
All right. I was trying to see. There's not a lot of fucking Trinity Blood AMVs, ironically enough, but I don't think
They probably got deleted in the first great YouTube purge. They're a lot. It's
oh,
like
there's more than I thought. Hold on.
It's like you pick up the ground and smell, and you're like, there was something here.
There's one for with Lacuna Coil.
I saw one to 3 Days Grace, so that's about as close as we're getting.
Yeah, I think that's as close as we're gonna get. There's the first one that I came up with from my search 14 years ago. Trinity Blood, Angel of Darkness.
There we
Anyway.
go.
Yep.
And then the fucking description says, "Woo, go Abel." Anyway,
Stephanie.
I'm coming back. Oh shit! I'll look at this later. All right. So, Doofenshmirtz Order of Rosencrantz.
And Guildenstern, they're dead.
I'm actually gonna start with Mike as Kane. Weirdly enough, Kane isn't really there until the end of the fucking show. Basically. So compared to, like, Isaac and Dietrich, he doesn't have a ton to fucking do aside from just go fucking crazy ass, like, nuts fight scene at the end. But, like, Mike, I think, was a delight. It was just... This is the fucking note I wrote. Mike just has this fuckboy attitude, and it's great.
You're not wrong.
That's the exact note I wrote down about Mike, and that was the only note I wrote down for Mike. Because this Kane is a fucking dick. He like I said, like, maybe 10 minutes ago, the villains of this either play, performance-wise, on the side of smarmy, sultry, like, oozing with charisma, or they're complete dicks. And we're going, this trio goes on the side of, like, smarmy, sultry, charismatic assholes, basically. And Mike is among them, and it's very, very entertaining. But I really want to talk about both Chris and Justin, because these two are phenomenal. First of all, at first, with Dietrich, I thought I did not recognize Justin, so this was another one like Jason Lebrecht, that I was like, wait, this is Justin? It doesn't help that a lot of these performances are, for the most part, played much quieter, and especially for their introductions. Dietrich is one of those. But I really, really loved Justin as Dietrich, because it's quiet and just very subtle, but very, like, impactful in what he's doing and what he means to do. And he's very, very, he's a very smart man. Dietrich's very smart man. That he tries all these fucking schemes. He's the one that you kind of deal with the most throughout the course of the show as a villain. You have Isaac very, very early on, and then he pops up again towards the end, and then Kane really is just towards the end. But in terms of the Order of Rosenkreuz, Dietrich is the one who puts the face to the name throughout the whole course of the show. And having to help carry the antagonistic side essentially for the majority of the show. Justin does very, very well with this. It's very cunning, it's very smarmy, it's very subtle, and it's just great. And again, like we were saying before, props to him on the technical side as well, because he has to also voice Radu when we learn that, yes, Dietrich's actually controlling Radu, and that facade is just done. So kudos there. I love Chris Ayres when we get to talk about him. I think I mentioned this earlier, that the last time, at least I think we've talked about him, or Megan and I at least have, might have been Amnesia of all things. Unfortunately. Amnesia this is not, and with good reason. But, again, Isaac has, like, this dark, sultry tone to him. It's just, like, it's, like, oozing, it sometimes even oozes more charisma than Dietrich, because Isaac is a bit more, to an extent, a little bit more of a showman than Dietrich is, if that makes sense, with some of the things that he does. And he's, like, because he's the one who does the whole shit with the organ. He does the whole thing on the airship at the end of the fucking show, and it's, if it was, my brain... Oh no, my brain has had a thought.
Uh-oh.
It's not as hammy, but the showmanship kind of reminds me a little bit, weirdly enough, of the Major from Hellsing Ultimate.
Was that also Chris?
No.
That is not.
I don't remember who plays him.
I'd have to look it up. But no, like... Because if you've seen Hellsing Ultimate, the Major hams shit up, but he's also a fucking showman. And he's very, like, broad and present. And Isaac is a similar fashion. It's not as very, like, hammy and open as the Major is, but it's, like, very broad and it's just like, let me show you my airship. Like, you know what I mean? So it gives a little bit more of a difference between him and Dietrich, especially when the tone and the performance can borderline similar. It's that little touch that gives it a bit more personality. And I think makes Chris stand out a lot more because of it. But God, I love fucking Isaac gets what his just desserts. Like, these bitches are like, haha, you can't get through my barrier, you will not take me down. And then they're like, okay, so the ship has a timeout for a hot second before it attacks. That's when we can destroy the barrier and then destroy it. And it's like, no, how dare you? And then he's just dead. But, no, I like all three of these performances, but I think Justin, in terms of the Order of Rosenkreuz, carries it throughout the course of the show. And Isaac is just as smarmy and charismatic in the show as well. It's great. And Mike is fun. Mike is a fun antagonist in the end. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all are gonna laugh at me for something.
Oh no!
So, I'll do Kane last, because that's why you're gonna laugh at me.
Oh boy.
So, I, for the longest time, hated Justin Cook's character, Dietrich von Lohengrin.
Oh, his
I
character's-
fucking hate this character.
character's-
He's a piece of shit, and I wish for nothing but bad things to happen to him for making Esther cry so much.
Oh, I mean, 100%.
But Justin's so fucking good! I wish they let Justin play more shitheads like Dietrich. Like, I know we have Shinya here from Star Blazers, who's also a slimy piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I feel like I brought up Dietrich on that episode, because that's the last piece of shit character I remember him playing.
You probably
Because
did.
nowadays we have Justin Cook playing ultimate good bro Kirishima and the ultimate good guy Haru Hataru.
Yeah.
But Dietrich is such a, like, he gets under your skin, and I found it's a terrible choice of words.
Oh, shit.
Like, oh, he's so awful, and Justin's so good at making him so awful, and, like, he's such a showman is right, like, how he ties Esther up to watch her to see things,
Right?
and how he's like, oh, Esther, you're such a dumbass.
Oh, no, I was talking about Isaac being the showman, not
Oh, no,
Dietrich.
Dietrich is one, too.
He can
Dietrich
be.
is one, too.
He can be, but, like...
He's not at the same level as Isaac, but
Yes.
he's there. And I think Justin plays that, like, snake-like character so well.
Mhm.
Because you genuinely think Dietrich is a good guy until you see him working with Kent Williams' character in Esther's arc.
Yes. Yes.
And, oh man, Chris Ayers, please get well soon.
Yes.
I miss your acting, especially as characters like this. Because, like, a lot of people know Chris as Frieza. And for good reason. Frieza, his performance as Frieza is iconic. I think this is so much different from his Frieza because it's not as alien and not as, like, shonen-y. This is genuine piece of shit material. Like, this guy is willing to do anything and everything to kill. And he has no qualms in doing it. And I love that he's just like, oh, Abel, if only you were faster. And just, like, he's so smarmy, and he's so slimy, and that's why it's so satisfying when he gets blown the fuck up by Kate's laser.
Yeah.
That's, so satisfying.
But God, I love his performance off of Abel's actor in the Barcelona part.
Mhm.
Right before he destroys Barcelona with the silent bomb.
Yes.
With the silent noise machine.
Mhm.
Just because it is genuinely a playwright battling with his character. Even though Dietrich is more of the playwright kind of... No, I'm confusing Dietrich with Akos from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and they have nothing to do with each other. But, no, they're both great. So, here's where you laugh at me.
Oh, here we go, okay.
I used to be terrified of Kane Night Road.
Really?
I was afraid of this character.
Huh.
Mike's performance creeped me the fuck out because the show would come on late at night and I'm a baby.
I mean,
Remember, I don't like horror.
I mean, I'm not gonna laugh at you because, like, you know my deal with Paranoia Agent, right?
That you were afraid of it?
I was afraid of fucking Little Slugger when I was first watching that show. So I completely understand.
So here's the part where you laugh.
Okay.
Upon reaching the age of 30, when Kane talked and did his evil things, my only reaction is, oh no, he's hot.
Okay, yeah, alright.
Oh no, he's hot! Mike does a really good job of making Kane, like, your first discount dollar. He makes a good Hot Topic boyfriend. like, you know the meme of, he murdered people, I can fix him! Yes! Except for you can't, because he's a nuclear test tube baby made from Elon Musk's thought jizz.
And then you can't even, like, eject him into fucking space orbit and let that destroy him. Fuck that
No,
noise.
he's too strong. He literally nonchalantly picks up his arm and goes, well, Dietrich, well, Isaac better fix this. And just Mike's delivery of him in the bathtub going, well, I'm gonna go fuse with Abel now. And he's just so nonchalant about his evil.
Oh,
And it's like Patrick said, he's like a child who doesn't understand that he's actually doing bad things.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the flashback where, unfortunately, they make Mike push his voice a little too much, he's like, but I love humanity. Don't you love humanity, Abel?
Oh my god.
And Abel's like, and Abel's just kind of standing there in his little, like, space test tube baby jail. And Seth is like,
Solitary confinement.
everybody around him is just like, and then he cuts off Abel's girlfriend's head. And
God.
But Mike is so good in this, even for the short amount of time, and I'm still it still gives me the heebie-jeebies, but now it gives me the heebie-jeebies in a way of like,
In a very different way.
I could fix that.
God, now I see that chamber Abel was in the flashback, and just like, with the word space jail on top of it, but the S is written backwards.
That's how you know it's edgy.
No, that's not how. That's how you know a kid did it.
Yes.
But yes, also
And like
edgy.
when I say Hot Topic boyfriend, I don't mean like modern day Hot Topic. I mean like where the outside of the Hot Topic looked like the portal to hell.
Yeah.
Where you could buy Trip jeans with chains.
Oh, yeah. Basically when I
Your
was in
Hot
fucking high
Topics
school.
and my Hot Topics are not the same.
Basically when we were fucking high school, essentially.
I can tell that. Like, okay, I mean Hot Topic where it looked like Misa Amane had sex in the dressing room.
Okay,
Yeah.
Steph, you're gonna have to be a little more specific, because your Hot Topic during high school and my Hot Topic during high school might as well have been two different animals, because I'm old.
It would have been 2005.
Okay,
between 2005 and 2009 for me.
Okay, yeah,
Mine
then that would
between
have been
06 and 010.
that would have been my high school, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Accurate.
Enough about high school. Let's talk about those pesky AX agents.
Can I just quick side note to answer the
Yes.
question about who voices the Major in Hellsing Ultimate? Gildart Jackson.
I looked it up and then I forgot to say something.
Yeah. I just had it. I was like, let me just throw that in for a quick second. But anyway,
All right,
those
so let's
pesky
talk-
AX kids.
God, it would be such a long section, but I'm so tempted to just combine them all because we're already at like 2 hours.
That's up to you, dude.
Yeah, I mean, we could.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Fuck it. Let's go.
We're already here.
Let's talk about every AX agent who is a one-off or just comes back to blow shit up when the AX has to team up.
Woohoo!
Or dies. They are Hugh Dewatcheru, aka the Swordsman. He's literally just Castlevania from Alucard from Castlevania.
Oh my god, he is.
Yeah. Accurate.
Leon de Garcia de Aratis. He's a prisoner that they let out, and he loves his daughter. He also watches Abel get bodied by 7-year-olds.
We find out he has a daughter in like what the last fucking episode?
Yes, he's also awesome. Noelle Barr,
Yeah.
she is the empath. She's an empath that works with the AX and dies in Barcelona due to the sound machine. However, the silent noise machine. However, she clutches on to the notes about the Rome version, which helped the AX save Rome from destruction.
I love
Tress-
Noelle.
Tress Equus, he's the Terminator.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, not wrong.
Kate Scott is she commands the Iron Maiden air battleship. She is basically a hologram because her body has actually been weakened so much that she cannot walk around physically, but her mind is still surviving. I had to look that up. William Walter Wadsworth, he is the scientist guy and also pisses off Kate to no end.
Yes.
And
Mad
their
scientist.
leader,
Mad scientist.
yeah, and their leader is Cardinal Caterina Sforza, who Abel saved as a small child and pledged her loyalty to. And she is basically the force of good in the AX, acting as the foil to her brother.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go, because this is a very large section, but I pretty much feel like we don't have a lot to say about each person, but they are all important in their own way. Playing Q is John Bergmeyer, playing Leon is Phil Parsons, playing Noelle is Christine Otten, playing Tress is Chris Sabat, playing Kate Scott is Gwendolyn Lau, playing William Walter Wadsworth is Justin Douglas, and playing Katerina Sforza is Lydia McKay. John Bergmeyer knows characters such as Joey Held in Blue Gender, Hajime Ishibata in Hellgirl, and Go in Save Me Lollipop. Phil Parsons, you'll know his characters such as Kenny Ackerman in Attack on Titan, Daisuke Goto in Phantom, Requiem for the Phantom, and Reiji Yomu in Tokyo Ghoul. Christine Otten, you'll know as characters such as Azael in Orphan, Riziel in Chrono Crusade, and Zumi Curtis in the Fullmetal Alchemist franchise. Christopher Sabat, you'll know as characters such as Kane Warlock in Black Blood Brothers, General Cross Marin and Grey Man, and Roy Revenant in Salty Ray. Gwendolyn Lau, you'll know as characters such as Madoka Narumi in Spiral, Olminu in Drifters, and Shezka in Fullmetal Alchemist. Jason Douglas, you'll know his characters such as Dune in Castron Sin, El Piazzo in Excel Saga, and Yayoi Mito in Moonphase. Lydia McKay, you'll know his characters such as Serafina Arcs in Black Cat, Patty Milfer in the Shin-Chan dub, and I was not leaving that out when I saw it.
Thank you.
And Oria Shifon and Tenchi Muyo were on Gemini. Alright.
Woo!
I'll do this first. John Bergmeyer is really cool as Hugh DeWatro, but Hugh doesn't talk a lot.
Yeah.
Hugh literally shows up, beats the shit out of people, and he gets a really cool episode dedicated to him with Jamie Markey, where he's basically the rogue lone one.
Wait, that's Jamie?
Yeah, that was Jamie as Agnes.
As Agnes? Oh my god, how did I not fucking notice that?
I didn't note it until I saw the credits and was like, bullshit.
God damn, alright.
But he's a lot of fun, and basically, yeah, Hugh is basically the world's biggest Castlevania shout-out. He literally looks like Alucard.
Yep.
I love Phil Parsons as Leon. Leon is a loud, brash, ex-prisoner guy, and I think that he has some of the most fun dialogue in the show.
Yep.
He has the really heavy-handed Neverland episode that is plot relevant, comes back.
Yeah.
And I really love his talks with Peter, who I think is Kira Vincent Davis. Yeah, it's Kara Vincent Davis and Caitlin Glass.
Yeah.
You also get to watch Abel get attacked by fairy 8-year-olds, and it's fucking fantastic.
Because why not?
But Phil is a lot of fun as his character. He's very much the loud, brash one, and I love every quip he gets about how things are worse than prison. Yeah.
They're in lockdown.
Like, not even prison was
This is worse than fucking prison.
Prison life ain't so bad. You can make sangria in the turlet, but it's shank or be shank.
Leon DeGarcia in The Green Mile.
Oh my god.
Christine Otten as Noelle was great. Christine Otten plays a lot of younger kids I've seen. She is also... I have to fucking say this.
Okay.
She's also Keiichiro in Ghost Stories.
Oh my goodness.
Oh god, I'm sorry. I have a really weird love-hate relationship with the Ghost Stories dub. But I think she does a really good job as older Noelle, and I like the part where she has to act drunk and complain to Abel.
Yep.
About how, this sucked, we're on vacation, it's Barcelona!
It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Abel, do you love me or not?
Breathe, Megan, breathe.
I love the fact that they pin all the spending in Barcelona, not on her, but on Abel.
Yes.
Chris Sabat as the Terminator. Chris has a very, very weird robotic voice. He does not give Trace any emotion. He plays Trace as a robot, and it works out pretty well. Even in Trace's little episode where he learns that even though he does lie and break programming once, and it's really cute, Gwendolyn Lau is a lot of fun as Kate. I don't think we get a lot of Gwendolyn Lau performances, in things.
Yeah, we don't get to talk about Gwendolyn Lau a lot.
I don't think we've actually, I don't know if we've actually, oh yeah, we talked about her as Olminu. I think she's great. I love her banter with Jason Douglas as William, because they're both from Albion. And she's like, oh no you don't, you piece of shit. And I feel like if she had a body, they'd be dating.
Probably.
They're a ton of fun together. Jason Douglas is hamming it up as William. He's that scientist guy, but he's also very much a giant dork.
Yeah.
When he makes the Ashton Martin fly is like the stuff of dreams. And I genuinely love his introduction where he makes the sound bomb go off, and Kate shows up and goes, "What the fuck are you doing, asshole?" But I think he also does nail, a lot of these guys also do nail the emotional parts of their performances. They're not all perfect, but they are a ton of fun. And a lot of the times when the AX is all together is where some of the unintentional comedy comes in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Lydia McKay as Katarina is fantastic. She does a good job giving Katarina a sense of dignity and poise under pressure. And some emotionality, like when Abel dies.
Mm-hmm.
In air quotes. He gets better.
I got better.
I love the part where she goes to get the nanomachines from Lilith.
Yes.
And she's like, I'm so sorry. And I just genuinely love the air and attitude that Lydia does as Katarina. Because Lydia's performance commands that you pay attention to Katarina as she speaks.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a good sense of pathos and empathy in there, and how you genuinely believe in her convictions. I think I've said everything I have to say, so I'm gonna hand it over to Patrick.
All right.
And apologies to our editor for all the headshots you gotta shove in.
Have fun.
John Bergmeyer was good, but at the same time, like Megan said, he doesn't really get to say a lot. He is basically just an a la carte analog. Down to the really badass swordsmanship. Phil Parsons is a delight, particularly with the sort of, what are we basing this off of arc with the fairies? Hint, hint, it's Peter Pan. And like the joke I did while Megan was talking, like I love his sort of his prison banter. The oh, this is worse than prison. Like it's great, real good. Christine Otten as Noelle. She is uncomfortably horny for Abel. Let's be real.
Abel never said he took a vow of celibacy, he took a vow of poverty.
Yeah.
There we go.
So... But Abel's also fucking... Well, no, I can't say he's dense in the head. He probably just is doing it on purpose to avoid shit.
Like, yeah, he's an immortal vampire-eating vampire. Like, it would have been...
It's literally like, he's at least 900 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
It feels like he was trying to gently reject her advances just because, you know, she is gonna get old way before him.
Mm-hmm.
But it is really funny that in basically all of Abel and Noelle's sort of banter, particularly in Barcelona, she wants to fucking jump his bones.
Yeah.
If not for that pesky vow of celibacy that priests have to take.
He never said he took one. He said he took one of poverty.
Well, I mean, that was
Typically.
Abel. We don't know about Noelle.
That's
Fair.
true, but I think she wouldn't have.
Fair.
It's Noelle.
Chris Sabat as Trey's. Oh my god. Like, for a character that's supposed to be monotone, like, he gives so, like, it's great. Some of the time, the sort of monotonous performance is sort of played comedically. Because he's a robot and he doesn't understand shit. But I like I don't remember if it was the second to last or the last episode where he's injecting the nanomachines into Abel. Where he
It's the last episode.
Okay, last episode. But basically he's giving the incantation. And like that combined with sort of the robotic performance, like it was really cool. I don't remember much of Gwendolyn Lau's Kate Scott. I know she shows up a lot, but she basically doesn't get much to do until the final episode where with the airship and the blowing the hole in the other airship. Which is great. Like, if you watch Trinity Blood for one reason, like, the fight scenes in episode 24 make it absolutely worth it.
Oh, lordy, yep.
Good shit, good shit. Jason Douglas is a surprising comedic powerhouse here. Because I'm used to him as, oh shit, who... Like, I'm used to him in stuff like After the Rain and,
Estelle.
Oh god, and Nevin.
Does he sell? Oh, thanks for the trauma.
You're welcome.
Oh, lordy.
But I'm used to him as more dramatic characters. Oh yeah, and also Dororo. Jeez, Dororo and Vinland Saga. Woo!
I need to watch Vinland Saga.
Yes, you do.
Like, I'm used to him playing more dramatic characters, so him actually getting, like, comedic chops, like, it is refreshing, and I really wish he was able to do more with, you know, comedy. Because he's actually a lot better at it than people give him credit for. And then, holy shit, Lydia McKay as Katerina. She is basically the Pope's moral center, I guess. Like, honestly, just because Francesco is just that much of a dick. Like, Francesco is the Catholic Church's sword, and, I would say Katerina is more the olive branch.
Yeah.
She has to keep a cool head at all times, and, like, her getting to lose her shit when Abel, quote-unquote, dies. Like, that was really good. So yeah. Like, AX is really, absolutely fucking solid all around.
Indeed. Steph.
Oh, boy. Let's see how quickly I can go through this, because there's a lot of them. So, in agreement with John Bergmeyer as Father Hugh, he doesn't really say much at all. But John's good. I like John as Hugh. Sword man, beat the shit out of things. I really love Phil Parsons as Leon. He has a snark and a sass to him, and he's one of those kinds of characters or people who's like, I don't get paid enough for this shit. With instead of like being in fucking jail was better than this. But no, like he has some snark and sass to him, but he also is very, very kind and is just very encouraging. The Neverland episode where you're introduced to Leon is a delight because of that. Where are we now? Noelle! I love Sister Noelle. I forgot Sister Noelle dies after like 8 episodes, and I was very sad because I love Christine's performance as Noelle. She's just she acts in like a big sister role to Esther when Esther's first brought into the Vatican to be part of AX, and then she's also very sassy. She's a sassy sister, and she just wants to not only, she's very dedicated to her work and her role, but she also wants to have a little bit of fun. The whole deal in Barcelona was a delight in her being drunk. But god damn it, all she just wanted was an answer from Abel. That's all. Just like, fuck you, dude. But no, I really love Christine as Noelle. Chris Sabat as Father Trace. his is very interesting. Because it weird, oddly enough for me, the monotone voice, I did like it, but there were some points where it kind of came off as flat. It excelled a bit more in the dry comedic portion that Trace has to offer, though, because the kind of humor that Father Trace has is more dry, which works considering this is a fucking robot. But there are moments where some of the monotone performance kind of fell a touch flat to me. It was very few and far between, but it happened on occasion. But it was fine otherwise. Gwendolyn Lau is Kate Scott. I fucking love her. Kate is great. She's another one, like, basically like all of the sisters in AX are sassy as shit. And I love it. Like, Noelle is sassy as fuck. Esther has her moments where she is sassy. And Kate Scott is just like, oh, I love Gwendolyn Lau. I actually didn't have any notes on Kate's, did I? No, she has a bright presence with a touch of static because she's a hologram we see majority of the time, so that's on a little bit of a technical element. But it works very well. And her encounters, like, I think Patrick was saying with the professor, William Walter Wordsworth and Jason Douglas, were just so fun. Jason blows up shit in his office. Are you fucking kidding me? I thought we were under attack by, like, an magnetic force or some shit.
Yeah.
You bastard. Like, it's great. Oh, like, the whole...
I made a fucky wucky.
Yeah, the whole episode where Esther is gone on a tour of the Vatican when she's first brought into AX is just fucking comedic gold. And then, speaking of Jason, he's also... Jason is a very nonchalant kind of presence. Like, he's very matter-of-fact and nonchalant about it, but he has, like, a lot of... The tone of voice also is just, like, he has, like, a piqued interest in, like, everything. Like, about technology and sciences and things like that, and he's turns into a fucking crazy inventor half the time. He's like, oh, but the Aston Martin... The
fact that he is a wacky, crazy inventor actually makes a ton of sense once you learn that Albion is basically the capital of all lost technology.
Right. So, the Aston Martin, and when it transforms and it gets the fucking wings and shit, and he's like, I was thinking something like this could happen someday, so I made some modifications, though it may not be that stable still right now, and Leon's just like, fuck you, what?
Which leads to probably my favorite William Walters line from him, which I wrote down, which was, oh, that's good. Let me find it. Your criticism isn't constructive, but you are right.
That is it. That is it.
But you're right.
It was great. Like, the nonchalant and kind of the more humorous approach to William Walters' character is just great, and I love Jason so much for that. Lydia McKay as Her Eminence Katarina Sforza. It is a very phenomenal presence in the show, because like you guys were saying, she is essentially the moral ground for Pope Alessandro to stand on. Because where Francisco is just like, fuck all the vampires, we gotta blow them up, they're fucking terrorists. Katarina's like, are you fucking stupid? It's like, you don't even want to, like, there's a better way to do this. There's a more peaceful way to do this. And she, like Patrick said, she is the olive branch in this situation where she'd rather find a way to peacefully end conflict rather than just go guns a-blazing and go on Leroy Jenkins on bitches. And Lydia does a phenomenal job just having this grace and this regal sense and tone to her. And it just, like... She really, like, carries and takes charge in the scenes that she's in. And it's just fantastic, and I love her for that. All the AX members are so much fun. Like, legit, they are.
Alright, cool. Are we ready to move on to the next section?
Yep.
We're almost there!
Almost done. 2 more sections, then we're done.
Hell yeah.
Woohoo!
Let's talk about the 2 biggest Methuselah friends to the AX. Astaroche Ostron and Eon Fortuna. Astaroche Ostron is the, Duchess of Moldova. Thank you. Who is a kind of loud, angry woman who ends up kind of relying on Abel as her tovarish, and they become partners in crime. She is genuinely a badass and the reason why I'm bisexual.
I mean, makes sense.
Eon Fortuna is the Earl of Memphis. He is a young-looking boy who kind of has the worst week ever.
Yeah.
He gets betrayed by his tovarish, he gets accused of murder, he gets shot with a gun that makes him blood crazy, but he also falls in love with the Queen of England. So, I mean, things could be worse. Playing Astaroth Osteron is Carrie Savage, and playing Eon Fortuna is Aaron Dismuke. Carrie Savage knows characters such as Azaze, Rainy Day, and Negima, the Mokanas in both Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle and Triple X Holic, and to hurt everybody in the world, Satsuki, Yumisuka, and Lunar Legend Tsukihime.
Oh boy.
Aaron Dismuke, you'll know his characters as Alphon Elric in the original Fullmetal Alchemist, the original Hero Soma in the 2001 version of Fruits Basket, and as Shura in Yu Yu Hakusho Ghost Files. Patrick, you're going first.
Okay. I'll start with Carrie Savage. With Carrie Savage, as Esterosh. I didn't know she had a big girl voice, honestly.
Yeah, it's rare that you hear it. It's very rare.
Like, I'm not too familiar with her performances because they were all, like, at the point where I wasn't particularly big on Funimation dubs. Not that I had a beef with them, they were just a little further and farther between in my experience. Yeah, mainly I was a Geneon, so it would have been like California and Canadian dubs I would have been more familiar with. Yeah, she's big, she's brash, she's really confident in what she's capable of doing. And yeah, it's really great. And then the, oh, I don't remember much of her first appearance. I think it was like episode 11 or 12.
Oh yeah, where they're tracking down Chris Patton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't remember a lot of about that episode, but thankfully she gets to come back for the big arc where they meet the Empress. So good.
Do I look like a rat?
She has that line, yes. Love it.
Can we talk about how good the one-liners in the show are?
Oh, they're fun.
Yes, they are very good.
They're fun.
And she gets a couple of fun ones.
Oh, yeah.
The biggest one being the, do I look like a sewer rat to you? When Abel was talking about, oh yeah, we're in a boat. We've got water all around us.
It's like, fuck off, Abel.
I also like how she uses her fucking spear laser as a fucking motorboat propeller at one point.
Yes.
It was good.
Absolutely
It was like a rocket.
beautiful.
It was like, Mert.
And now here we are at the critique of the hour.
Oh boy.
Aaron Dismuke as Eon. I don't know when Trinity Blood was recorded in relation to Fullmetal Alchemist.
I could potentially tell you, but
Probably,
we'll get to that.
probably a year or two after.
Yeah, I think this was like... Oh, I think the show itself aired in like 05, and I think it was on Adult Swim by like
So-
06.
So weirdly enough, a lot of Wikipedia pages have her filmographies in order, chronological order of when the show first came to be. Aaron Dismuke's Wikipedia page is actually a little bit different because it's in chronological order when he had those roles. So, Fullmetal Alchemist originally ended in 05 for him, and Trinity Blood was the following year, as well as Conqueror of Shambhala. So.
Yeah, because
And everyone says you can kind of hear it in Shambhala too.
Yep.
honestly, between it's like a very known fact that around the time of Trinity Blood and Conqueror of Shambhala, Aaron Dismuke was going through puberty.
Mm-hmm.
And his voice got really crackly and squeaky.
Yes.
Honestly, it's a thing that, personally, I think it was to the detriment of his performance as, in the Full Metal Alchemist movie.
Mm.
But here, as Eon, sort of like Greg Ayres as a Pope, I think it lent a lot to the performance. Like, a lot. I know people might find the sort of squeaky crackliness to his voice in Trinity Blood a little detracting. I know a few people in my main friend circle definitely felt that way, but like it helps. The character acts a little bit immature for what is presumably, I don't know, he seems like he's probably like 100, 200 years old at least. Like one of those older characters in a younger body kind of deals. But he's also really brash and impulsive, and like I think that lent a lot to sort of the character's personality. Is I guess what I'm trying to get at here. And honestly, Eon has probably one of the most progressive story arcs in the show, other than maybe Esther.
Yeah.
Like, he goes through a saga. When you first meet him in Carthage, all the way to when he's exposing the assassination attempt on the Empress of the Methuselah. And then in the very last episode, either right before or right after the credits, I can't remember if it was like a sizzler reel, he basically decides to travel with Abel to kill Cain.
It's like right after the credits.
Yeah.
Or no, right before it.
Or right in the middle. It's around there.
But yeah, he decides to abandon the mission with Asta, and travel with Abel.
Which I'm really curious about that story arc, because if I recall correctly, the show does not go too far into the story of Trinity Blood, and there's like a lot of light novels and manga that came afterward that was kind of dicked around with in the US because it was licensed by a certain company.
Oh,
go fuck yourself, Stu Levy.
Wink wink, it's Tokyo Pop.
Wink wink nudge nudge, Tokyo Pop. Cough cough.
But yeah, like, I really liked Aaron Dismuke's performance in this. I want to say I wasn't too big on it when it first aired on Adult Swim, but now that I've come back around to the show, it definitely helped.
Yeah, and are you good, or do
Yeah,
you want me
I'm
to,
pretty much good.
or do you want to still go? I'll pick up from here. I'll keep on the Aaron train. I think a lot of people have memed on it over the years, that they're in the years like, haha, Aaron's going through puberty kind of things. But to me, he actually carried a lot of the dub of this show to me.
Yes.
I thought he was phenomenal in this. I thought that he gives Eon not only a sense of childishness, but Eon, like you said, goes through probably one of the hardest emotional arcs of the whole show. And to me, I think the moment that culminated it was when, in the last episode of that arc, when he and Esther are
imprisoned,
and he got shot with the
with the blood serum?
he got
with the
and
some
he's
weird experimental drug that made him want to drink blood.
Yeah, uncontrollably. The speech he talks about with Esther, how he wants to die as himself.
Mm-hmm.
That he doesn't want to die being a mindless monster. That he wants to go out as Eon, the person that she knew. And how he stabs himself I thought that was one of the most beautiful scenes in the whole show. Just his acting between him and Esther's acting. And I honestly think that the voice cracking works because Methuselah aging is really fucky. And we don't know how it works. And also just that childish naivete that he believes that Radu can't be evil. And how much it breaks him as a child being forced to grow up so fast in service of his empress. And then, Asta, Carrie Savage's Asta has always been one of my favorite performances. A lot of people will say it's also very screechy, but I think that she gives Asta this power in command of, like, a hotshot young woman who has overcome the death of her former master. Because in that episode, you learn that she used to not be this huge badass. She used to be a very shy, cowardice young woman who became hardened because her first Tovarish was killed. And she's hardened her heart so much that she has to reopen it up to Abel as this very awesome platonic friendship between the two of them. And the part where Eon and Asta learn that Abel has died broke my heart. Because you could see how hard it hit Asta to lose another Tovarish. But I also really like that kind of cheeky thing in his performance. Like, whatever happened to the Earl of Memphis? She's like, gee, I don't know, guys. But, like, genuinely, these are two of some of the best performances in the show. And I genuinely want to give credit to Aaron Dismuke above all, because there was this time period where I think Aaron wasn't as in the forefront of being in dubs like he is now again.
Yeah.
And this was kind of the start of it, and I genuinely think that his performance holds up more than well enough in these last couple of years. So, Steph, your turn.
I'm gonna start with Carrie. I love Carrie Savage as Astaroth. She has a touch of youthfulness to her, because, like you just said, when she was a slightly younger woman, she had to go through this ordeal where fucking Chris Patton was a dick and held her hostage, and then her Tovarish was killed and all this fun shit. So she did harden her heart, but that touch of, like, youthfulness is still there. And yeah, Astra is tough as fucking nails, and it's great. She doesn't fucking care. Like, when we were introduced to her, she's, like you said, her heart is so hardened at that point that it takes a bit for her roles to kind of start coming down a little bit the more she's with Abel. And because of that, she's a little bit more reckless, and, like, she's determined to, like, complete her mission, but she's a bit more reckless about it. To the point where civilians got hurt because of shit that's happening. So she starts to, like, open up a bit more and, like, starts to trust in people again. Which makes her partnership and her friendship with Abel just so wonderful, and I love the dynamic between Carrie and Abel's actor as well. Carrie's probably one of my favorite performances, and like you were saying, Patrick, you don't really ever hear a big girl Carrie Savage.
No, I'm more used to her in, like, Fam the Silverwing than...
Yeah, she's also fucking, she's in Fairy Tale. She's Mira Jane's sister, right?
Lizana,
thank you. And then, my favorite, of course, because it's fucking me, Moromi.
Take a rest.
Take a rest. Take a rest. Yeah. But no, like, this is a very different Carrie than what you would normally see her as. And she's just phenomenal.
Yes.
I'm gonna be the slight bad guy in all this.
I know you are. I'm waiting for it.
You already know that I will be. So Aaron is Eon. For the most part, I really, really loved it. For the most part. Because as you guys were saying, he has the naivete and the childlike qualities that Ian portrays throughout the course of the show, and he goes through a fuck ton of shit over the course of just those 2 arcs, essentially, in the middle of the fucking show. And it's that progression that makes it one of my... that progression of the character that makes it one of my favorite arcs in the whole show, too. And Eren is just phenomenal with that. The memes have been overdone. Please stop doing these memes. It's been over a fucking decade. Stop. It's been over 15 years, actually. Stop.
I gotta stand up.
Because the one drawback with Eren's performance is the loud moments, and it starts getting to the point where the voice kind of does get strained a touch. Just a touch. They happen on occasion when he, like, gets really yelling and, like, loud and aggressive. It's just a touch, but it's to no fault of Eren's own. Absolutely no fault of his own. He's just growing up and his voice is changing. It's part of fucking life. This is no fault of his own.
Right.
Like, people, like, folks back then could, like, made fun of it all fucking day. Like, it was known in the community way back when, and it's been memed all to hell, so stop memeing it all to hell, please. And so, it sucks. That is the one drawback with Eren's performance that I have with Eon, is those tiny, tiny moments where it has those tiny, tiny voice cracks that seem to me almost like he was straining a touch. That's it. And it's to no fault of his own. But I love the emotional progression. I loved the quiet moments where he has to, like, take everything in and, not analyze it. Fuck's the word.
Process?
Thank you. Process everything that's happened, because he goes through a lot of shit in the span of basically, almost 10 episodes in the whole fucking show?
Yeah.
So there's a lot there, and it's a credit to Eren that he's able to really bring that to the forefront, and it's done so well. It's just a minor thing, and it's no fault of his own, but otherwise, I really liked it so much. Stop fucking memeing on Puberty Eren Dismuke, you bitches. It's been 15 fucking years. Stop. That's it. I'm done.
Alright, you're good with everything, Asta too?
Yes, they are both good.
Okay, cool, let's move on to our final section of
Yay!
our main 2 characters.
We can do it. We can do it.
We've been recording since 2:30, guys.
Well, technically, no, yeah. Not technically.
It was a little closer to 3 because we were waiting on my nephew to get home from school.
I'm very tired, and I would like to go eat more food.
You're good. Let's go.
Alright, so our main 2 characters are Esther Blanchett. She's a nun that was originally in... Esther is originally a nun that gets tricked by Dietrich into committing some murders, and then Abel teaches her murder is wrong, and she goes to the AX. And eventually you find out that she is the one true heir to the Albanian throne, being the only child of the assassinated prince, who sent her to that city knowing that his time was up. Esther ends up becoming the emotional heart in Abel's kind of emotional chain. Mm-hmm. Abel Nightroad is a seemingly bumbling poor priest who works for the AX who manages to get his way into trouble. In truth, he is a Kruznik, a vampire who eats other vampires powered by nanomachines, and has taken a vow not to kill or eat a ton, due to the events prior to the series where he helped start Armageddon, obviously, and his number one enemy is Cain. And by the end of the series, he gets to have the I can be your angel or your devil fight over the church, and goes on to walk the world alone out to destroy Cain. Playing Esther Blanchett is Colleen Quinkenbeard, and playing Abel Nightroad is Troy Baker. Colleen Quinkenbeard knows characters such as Rachel Moore in Case Closed, Reina Soho in The Witchblade, and Yuko Ichihara in both Tsubasa and Triple X Holic. Troy Baker, who is more known for his video game work these days, However, he got his start seemingly at Funimation as characters such as Koga Genosuke in Basilisk, Alfonso in Gunslinger Girl, and because I needed to say this name, Count Heinrich von Kinkel in Moonface.
What fucking kind of name is that?
Heinrich von Kinkel!
Heinrich von Kinkel.
Steph, start us off.
Okay, alright. Oh, man. This is the second time, I think, in a hot minute, that I'm talking about an early Colleen role before Luffy Luffy came into existence and changed some of her vocal cords and shit. I love early Colleen stuff a lot. It's very, very different than how she sounds now, but Esther is just the sweetest thing. She's the sweetest, and like you said, she is the heart of the whole. She's the heart of the show, essentially, because she's the one who, gives more understanding. She's the one who's, wow, I can talk. She's the one who kind of helps change the viewpoint of a lot of people. Such as Eon, such as Pope Alessandro. She helps, her kind heart helps grow and change the hearts and minds of these various people. Move the hearts and minds of these people. And then you find out she's actually the fucking crown princess by the end of it, and it's like, oh, okay. Her spiel in episode 24 to the crowd that's, trying to bust their way into what could potentially be Buckingham Palace, essentially.
Oh no, it's straight up is Buckingham Palace.
Straight up. It was just so, full of compassion and, power and just sympathy. And I think it worked really well for Colleen. Colleen is just a fucking delight as Esther Blanchett, and I love her so much. Early Troy Baker is a fucking trip, guys.
Oh yeah.
Early Troy Baker is a fucking trip. Because, of course, this is my introduction to Troy Baker back in the day.
Yeah.
So...
Same.
And, of course, the next time I ever saw or heard Troy's name fucking pop up again was frickin', Last of Us. It's fucking Joel. And you're just like, hold on.
Wait, not FMA. Oh, right, you've never seen Brotherhood.
I've not seen Brotherhood.
I was like, not Brotherhood?
No, I haven't seen fucking Brotherhood. No, I haven't. So going from fucking dorky ass April Night Road and going to fucking Joel, it's like whiplash. It's like, holy shit, guys. But oh sweet lord, April's such a fucking dork. He can be, for the most part, he is an absolute dork. We mentioned earlier how he took a vow of poverty, right? He has such fun comedic moments with that. His first introduction in the entire show is him just, at the bar, just, sulking, because he doesn't have fucking money to get food. And he's like, I've taken a vow of poverty. I don't get paid till, maybe next week. I must survive until then. And he's just, wasting away. And the same similar, gag comes up later on, I think, when we're going to the Empire, and Abel and Esther are envoys for, Vatican envoys for Eon, to talk to the Empress. Esther and Eon are, just are worried about him, and he's just on the floor oh, and Esther's just like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking for real, Abel? What the shit? No, he has such a fun comedic presence, it's great, but you also know what that comedic tone and that comedic presence that Abel has is essentially a mask, in a way, because when Abel gets pissed, and he goes, full Krusnik mode on
40%,
people.
40%, actually.
What?
Technically 40%.
Yeah, 40%. 80%, and then you have episode 24.
Railgun, Angel!
he, like, drops the facade very quickly when shit gets real. And then it becomes so dark and menacing, especially in the moments where you can see that he could potentially lose control of himself. An example of that being fucking Tank Radu.
Boom goes the Radu.
Boom goes the Radu. Where I think it's either the first or the second time that Abel went 80% cruise neck. I think the first time was with Isaac. But like he starts to lose himself a little bit more. And also because you just learned a few episodes prior that he took a vow never to kill anyone. After what happened to Lilith, which predates the show. But it's very interesting, and it makes the performance a bit more complex, where, like, 75% of the time, Abel's a bumbling fucking idiot. But then, the other 25% of the time, he's this complex, dark, and mysterious being that, especially with Esther, she's trying to figure out and wants to understand him, right? So Troy plays those sides very, very well, and I think it's phenomenal. It's definitely a very entertaining performance, that's for sure. But again, y'all, early Troy Baker is a fucking trip. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah.
Patrick?
Okay, who do I start with? I'm just gonna go with Colleen as Esther again. I love the sort of calm, big sisterly energy she gives off through most of her story arc, except when, like, moments of extreme emotion call for something different. She is just the emotional anchor of everyone around her. But can we talk for a second about the bullshit of the end of her story arc?
No, because it's awesome. Fuck you. She's the Queen of England now.
Like,
No, it's not bullshit. They had been hinting at something, remember? Because she has a fucking star birthmark on her back.
Yeah, no, they've been hinting at it.
They were hinting on it the whole
oh,
fucking
maybe
time.
I just wasn't paying attention then.
She is the
they kept
literal
bringing
Star
up-
of Hope.
Yeah, Dietrich literally calls her the Star of Hope at one point,
Mhm.
very early on.
Yep.
Oh, how weird.
And then you have them when they're in the Empire and she's in the bath with Astra. And Astra's the one who points out the birthmark. I think.
Yeah, she asks her if it's a scar.
Right. So they have been, like, drop little hints of it throughout the course of the show. But then it just does kind of come out of nowhere, like what it actually is.
yeah.
I kind of get it, but they were hinting at it throughout, honestly, too, so.
Because the whole thing is, like, the original Queen of Albion was looking for the star... Oh, fuck. The Star of Hope.
What?
Yeah! There you go!
But
Ta-da!
Mom, I'm going to give my kid the most obvious name.
Esther.
And then it's like, oh yeah, your name means the Star of Hope. And I'm just like, oh, fuck. She's gonna be made Queen of England, isn't she? There's not enough sword pulling
Surprise!
here. It's too
as
easy
subtle
nowadays.
As a ton of fucking bricks. It's as subtle as a bunch of ton of fucking bricks.
But no, I like Colleen's performance at the very least. Like, she has to go through a lot of emotional shit, like, more so than even Eon. So, like, as, like, one of the early Funimation dubs, and one of Colleen's earlier appearances, this is great. And I mean, also with Troy Baker as Abel, this is probably the most mid-2000s Funimation casting I could have possibly imagined.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Because, you know, people like to complain about, oh, Funimation uses the same people for their leads. You should have been around 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Because they're, like, Funimation's doing a really great job of getting different people to play leads in their shows and major characters. It's also just the fact that they're picking up a lot and dubbing a lot that you probably notice a lot of patterns. Anyway, off that little tangent right there. Troy Baker as Abel is great. I don't particularly connect Troy Baker with comedic roles, except maybe like regular show. Which, if you didn't know, he played Thomas, the sheep dude.
I've never seen regular show. The next
Yeah.
closest comedic role I could see is I'm going into video game land. Reese from Tales of the Borderlands has a little bit of comedic chops to him.
I've never played that one.
I haven't played it, but I've seen like playthroughs of it. It's kind of similar. Well, no, it's not doofy stupid. It's more like cocky stupid.
Yeah.
So.
But honestly, yeah, Troy Baker playing a big doof is great. Which, as you mentioned, is basically a mask for his true persona.
Right.
The stoic kind of Avenger who is... Well, I guess he didn't know for a while that his brother was still alive. Right? Like, it had to be told
he didn't
to
know
him.
until Seth. Yeah, Seth had told him.
Yeah, Seth was the one who let him know, yeah.
But
They just assumed that he was dead after being, like, yeeted into the atmosphere.
like, I'm sorry. If you yeet somebody into the atmosphere, like, they should be dead.
Not fucking caned!
That
Clearly.
That Kane, what are we gonna do with him? But he's a
Can
stoic...
we yeet him into the next universe? Maybe they can deal with it.
Oh, just the Mike and Sully Kingdom Hearts 3 version.
Oh, Jesus!
Oh, which we need to get you and Andrew
Steph,
playing
have you ever
that.
seen that?
Seen what?
Have you? Oh, you guys haven't seen that.
Seen what?
You'll get. We'll explain when you're older.
I
Anyway,
need more context than that, but okay.
yeah, he's sort of a stoic Avenger warrior kind of character. Like, I love how down and out he was when Noelle was killed. And then there was another point where he was just kind of not there anymore, and somebody died, and I can't remember who.
Isn't it when he dies?
I mean, that's more Sister Esther, but,
I feel like there was a second moment, like, in Albion, where he was just kind of...
It's when he lets them into Albion. That's
Okay.
when it is.
Like, he's just not there, and he's mopey, and I really like that, too. The character is complicated, and, like, the 100% Kruznik fight at the final episode was great. I don't think they explicitly said it was 100%, but you know it's 100%.
about to say, there's no way you can't say it's not 100% when you've already seen how Abel is at 40 and 80 fucking percent. 80% is when
I
you
can
get-
be your angle or your devil.
The 80% is when he starts actually getting, like, the fucking Raildex lightning rod happening here. Like,
Yeah, it's basically Devilman and Satan. So,
yeah.
but that was really cool, and like, these are just cool characters and really good performances attached to them. So thumbs up.
Sorry, guys. I'm not bored. I'm just tired.
No, I hear ya.
You're good.
No, so Esther is... Colleen is Esther. My bad. She does a really great job, and one of the things you guys haven't pointed out is, in her first introduction arc, she is an asshole.
Yeah,
Oh, good
that's
point.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she is not this nice, happy person. She is a depressed person on the hellbent on revenge of the only mother figure she's ever known.
you're right.
And it takes her realizing that she's been duped by Dietrich to kill people.
Mm-hmm.
That this is not how things should have gone.
Right.
And that scene where Kent dresses her up as his wife.
Yeah, that was a little creepy. First,
Yeah,
of all.
it's vampire series.
I
It's
know.
part of the book.
Still creepy.
But
though.
just the whole part where he offers her the gun and she goes for it, and Troy's performance on top of Esther, violence is wrong.
Violence
But
is not the answer, Esther.
The answer, Esther, no. Violence, no. And then it ends up turning around that she has to be the violence, no.
Yeah.
And I think that part where she sees Abel at, I think, 40 or 80%, and because he has used Eon bleeding out as his food.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And her, like, the really painful screams that she says, "Get away from me, monster."
Mm-hmm.
And Troy's, the mix effect on Troy's, like, kind of this scream of pain and horror. Because he doesn't ever want Esther to see him like that again, because he cares for her in some way.
Yeah.
Like, it's not love, it's not like romantic love, but he does genuinely care for her. Which is why when he can go to kill Cain and he sees her, he stops.
Yep.
And that's what lets Cain kill him. And I think that Troy does definitely nail the very goofy, bumbling thing. I actually thought he was played by John Bergmeyer as a teenager.
Really?
Yeah, I thought that was John Bergmeyer.
I can kind of see the confusion a little bit.
It sounded very much like Doof Shigure.
Yeah, a little bit.
But back to Colleen, I think that Colleen really does nail the parts where Esther becomes this more kind and diplomatic person, and that she unwillingly breaks barriers at some point, like where she saves Alejandro and it's like, oh, come on, you can't be like that, or how she's the only person to call Seth in front of everybody, and everybody's like, Esther?
Yeah. I mean, it was at Seth's request.
Yeah, well, no, the first time it wasn't.
Well, true.
But man, again, that scene of the cell in Eon, where Eon's being cold to her, and she's like, no, I don't want to kill you, it's not like that, and they have this misunderstanding. To which also be that line of Asta being like, they don't live terribly long, you know.
Right.
And then I also love when she's in the church, and Cain comes up to her, and she has this moment of, who are you? And I forgot to talk about how well Mike delivers this line. He goes, I'm a Kruznik. I'm a being that needs nothing, yet at the same time, I need everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which really transitions me into Troy's performance. It is a performance that takes a lot to get into, but outputs a lot, because he has to play basically two characters in one body. There is, again, the Abel, like you said, that presents himself to the world. And then there's the true Abel deep down underneath, who at one point resented humanity for what humanity had done to him.
Yeah.
Because, again, also would have preferred them to get a different actor for child Abel, because he pushes his range a little too high. But that child Abel, where Lilith is like, did you get into a fight again? And he says how much he wants to destroy humanity. You realize that Abel has seen so much death and destruction, and that he has to put up that facade lest he becomes something that takes everything again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think Troy does a masterful job of that, and he walks that fine line, and for a 15-year-old performance, it still holds up beyond well to this day. So with that, let's move into some final thoughts, starting with Patrick.
Yeah, this was an interesting show to revisit, because it has been, if not 15 years, almost. And even then, it was bits and pieces. Putting everything together was kind of an interesting little experiment. It is definitely the dub itself is a little evocative of mid-2000s Funimation jank. But it is... There's a lot of character in that. Like, there's a lot of character in jank. Because I don't mean that as an insult. I mean that as... a lot of interesting things Funimation doesn't quite do nearly as much with shows like Trinity Blood. It feels like they have a lot of fun with it. Whereas, you know, if Trinity Blood were a show that came out this year, and let's say, for the sake of argument, they got the exact same cast that they had for 2005, I feel like it would have been a completely different product.
Yeah.
But what we have is just so hammy and Like, it's just fun. Like, you watch this show for fun. I do actually recommend it. Actually, really highly. Just because, yeah, the show is dumb, but it's dumb fun. So, by all means, give it a check out. I'm basically done.
Okay, Steph?
Huh. So, critical darling, this probably is not. But Patrick is 100% right. It is dumb fun. That's essentially what Trinity Blood is. Is dumb fun. My critical brain probably yelled at a couple of stupid inconsistencies with the story. Trinity Blood is a show that you should not go into having the brain turned on. You should have it turned off. Unfortunately, sometimes when I have to be critical about the dubs that we talk about, my brain turns on, and then I notice weird consistencies with story, and it bugs the shit out of me. But I digress. In terms of the dub, for lack of better phrasing, it is a product of its time. It is still in the early stages of Funimation, rather early stages, and it's post Fullmetal Alchemist, which at that point to that date was the biggest property they had that was not Dragon Ball Z. Granted, I would argue Fruits Basket, but that's just me. But that Fullmetal Alchemist was basically the show where it's like, oh shit, it's one of those, it's the shit's getting real moment, if that makes sense. Kind of like when actors come to us and we're like, oh, you did this and this, you talked about this and this, and it's like, oh fuck, this is getting real.
Oh boy,
it's one of those. Yeah. It's one of those. Trinity Blood is one of those where it's like, after FMA is like, shit's getting real, guys. So they actually are progressing and moving forward, and things are expanding more and more during this time. It had its benefits. It had slight drawbacks during this. The dub itself is really solid for a 2005, 2006 English dub. The one technical flaw is the mixing on it, but that's the only real technical flaw. But yeah, as a piece of fun, stupid time, please go watch it. It doesn't get enough love nowadays, so, and when you watch it, don't fucking meme Aaron again, please. Just don't.
So I'm going to take the opposite approach, that this is a show that you should just turn your brain off to and watch. I think this is actually a fairly smart show that has a lot of really cool world building. It's a little convoluted, yes, but there are more convoluted isekai that come out this day that people can just follow on pretty easily. So there's that. I think this has a lot of fun characters. It has a lot of really fun performances. Do I think this holds up, say, as well as something like Wolf's Rain or Last Exile? Absolutely not. This is probably a step below them as a dub. Hell, I'd say it's a step below FMA, which at that point in time would be considered the pinnacle of what Funimation had done. That being said, is this a bad dub? No, it holds up very well for being 15 years old. There's a lot of really fun performances. I think that the standouts are definitely Colleen, Troy, and Aaron. As much as people would like to make fun of Aaron going through puberty, I still think he carries the show's emotional weight for Eon Fortuna as this very well, it's well crafted. The mix is a little off, but you will survive. It's not like listening to Eric Vale recording to a dumpster, like a trash can, like Fruits Basket, the original.
Or Eric Vale recording while sick during the first episode of Death Parade.
Yeah, but this is genuinely a fun dub and a good time. It's just something that I can say I fully recommend the show. I fully recommend this dub. I genuinely forgot how much I really enjoyed this series. And I guess that's my final thoughts, is just please go watch it and make your own judgment. I do genuinely think that this dub holds up better than a lot of people give it credit for.
Trinity Blood needs more love nowadays than people give it credit for.
Yeah, they don't make shows like this anymore.
They don't.
There's not a lot of really ambitious sci-fi made anymore to me, and combining vampires and science fiction and all that stuff is a lot of fun. If you'd like to watch Trinity Blood, you can watch it all subbed and dubbed over at Funimation.com, as well as pick it up. I believe it is on their Classics line
Yes.
for Blu-ray.
It is. I have the set. That's what I used to watch it.
Yeah, they have it on their Classics line. However, if you would like to read the original source material, go fuck yourself, Stu Levy. It was never actually fully released in the US, even when Tokyo Pop had its license, because, Tokyo Pop went under, and then they came back like a cockroach.
I would
if you'd like
probably
to follow
pester
us-
like Seven Seas and Yen Press.
Yeah,
They'll do a
yeah.
reissue.
Pester Seven Seas, they'd probably be the ones to grab it. Yeah, so, like, really, though, apparently, this is this is also seriously a series that was based off a light novel before it became popular to adapt those.
Yeah.
So, if you'd like to follow us, we are, also, just like a sad fun fact, unfortunately, if you didn't catch it, the anime is actually dedicated to the original author.
Is it really?
Yes, he passed away right before the anime was made.
Oh,
Wow.
no way. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I knew he passed, but
Well,
I didn't know it
sad,
was right
but-
before the anime was.
I didn't know
produced.
that.
Yeah,
at
he
all.
passed away in, I believe he passed away in 2004. Yeah, he passed away in July of 2004. Also, apparently, the magazine that it, ran in, actually tanked in popularity because the author passed away.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Trinity Blood was very popular in that magazine.
Holy shit.
But speaking of us, we are the Dub Talk Podcast. You can follow us at Dub Talk Podcast on Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, where we stream. If you'd like to give us a donation, it's a one-time thing. We do have a Ko-fi link. But we also do have a Patreon where you can support us. I need to get the Patreon list. Give me 1 second.
Oh, I didn't give that to you. Shit, my bad.
It's on the Google sheet.
Yeah. It's still up to date, I believe.
There we go. Patrons. Our patrons at the $5 tier, we have my mom and dad, Michelle Travis, who I know is probably going to be more excited than anyone that we did this.
Yes!
Miraculous Corazon, Nico Robin, but with Yowie Hands, Sue Tweed, and Victor Maborda. Our $10 tier, Carly Lesticow, Crimson Echidna, Jacob Wilson, Jared Hawkins, Julia W., Marissa Lenti, Millicent Snowberry, and Otaku Anthony. Guys, show yourself really quickly.
I'll go real quick. Hello, my name is Stephanie. People sometimes call me Lilac. You can follow me on Twitter at Lilac Anime Review, with review spelled REVUE. I have a blog, liveandhasatotalk.wordpress.com, that I barely update. Speaking of the Twitch, I have also been streaming over on the Twitch. We just moved over to Sundays, and let Jet have Thursdays now. As a side note, you can also listen to Dub Talk on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you. Have a good night.
Patrick.
I'm Patrick, aka Roots of Justice. You can find me on the Twitter.com at Roots of Justice, mainly retweet cute animal pics, talk general fandom stuff. It's a fun time. You should come see me. Blog stuff coming soon. I'm trying to do a new thing for these Patrick's Cool Thing of the Day. I did one for the episode that's coming out next week, but I can't think of one right now, so I'll do another one next time.
Oh, I have an extra side note. Dub Talk also now has a second channel, Dub Talk Gaming, where our VOD, where our stream archive is going to be held. You can find the links probably in the description of this video. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Yes, thank you. And I'm Megan. You can follow me at Queen02, where I shitpost on the regular, retweet art, and hope that you all don't see the porn artists I follow.
Mood.
With that being said, we bid you a good night, and ask everybody to otaku on, my friends.
Bye, everybody. Have a good night. Happy Halloween!
Otaku on that, Deba. And remember, no stoner is cool enough to give your kid a bag of edibles. Don't believe that bullshit.
Hey guys, what if we put test tube babies with nanomachines to colonate Mars?
Oh my god. Fuck. We should do that.
Fund it.
God, we need fund it. Fund it. Let's go. Kickstart it now.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Night, everybody.